Well, hey, what's up and good evening. Hope you guys are having a great day. Hope you're ready for a great stream. And today is going to be a day where we are releasing another round of exclusive text messages involving Dylan Round's family and things going on in that case. And trust me, you're going to want to be here for this. I have about 40, maybe 30 or 40 text messages. We're going to go through not all of them today, but I picked out some of the ones that I think you're going to be most interested in. So we have about 6 pictures along with some exclusive photos and even a letter from a guy named Joseph Cicecchio. And some of you guys might remember I made a little graph of Dylan Rounds. And on that graph, I put Joseph Cicecchio as an important, integral part of what's going on in this case. And despite the fact that I did that, I don't remember hearing anyone else even talk about Joseph Cicecchio. And I kept saying how important Joseph Cicecchio is to this case, and nobody said it. Now I have a proof via letter, the importance of Joseph Cicecchio in this, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. And then I have several text messages that we're going to go through that are somewhat scandalous, and so I can't wait to talk about that. And I did email Black Dove today, but I didn't hear back. I know he's been really busy lately. I emailed him yesterday. He said he was away from home, so he couldn't jump on the stream. And then I did email him today and ask if he wanted to be a part of the stream, and he basically hasn't responded back. But you never know; he might be on here. He'd be a good one to have. One quick announcement before we hop into it: we do have our movement coffee. We have chocolate covered cherry. So good. And so if you're interested in chocolate covered cherry, or we also have vanilla bean, and these are 16 ounces ground coffee. Most of the time people are just selling 12 ounces. So we're selling 16 ounces, which is pretty good. It's a big bag. And it costs the same for shipping if you get 1 or 2 bags. So if you think about it, you might want to. You should just get a vanilla bean and a chocolate covered cherry bag. And we're still working on the process. We're new to selling coffee, so we're fixing labeling, packaging, how we ship it out. I know there's been issues in the past, but we're getting the hang of it. It's hard to start a coffee enterprise and get it going. And also, just in case people were not aware, I am totally alive. Apparently, there was a rumor going around about me on the internet that I was no longer living. And I just think that's silly. But besides that being silly, the thing that's even worse than that is that there are people who are saying they wish I was no longer living. And these are people I've never met on the internet. And I'm sure would be kind to them if I had known them. It's just ridiculous. And so we're just going to shake off all of the bad mojo, and we're going to just move on. But it's just kind of weird and ridiculous. And we just come against it in the mighty name of Jesus. So anyways, welcome to the great stream. If you're watching the replay, YouTube sent me an email yesterday and said to tell people that I have the super thanks button. And so if you're watching the replay and you want to support, you can support via the super thanks button. Also, fast forward for about 5 minutes because I love asking people where they're from when we watch. And I'm going to do that for like the next 5 minutes. So just fast forward 5 minutes and we'll hop into the stream then. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm coming to you live from Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm so glad that you're on the stream with me. What we're doing here is we're not creating a content distribution service. That's not what this is. This definitely isn't an opportunity for you to just come and consume news, but instead it's an invitation for you to be a part of a community of other people. And so we always say that we are a community of contributors, not content consumers. And so if you're interested in being a part of that community, this is an invitation for you to be a part of that. Your first step would click the little join button and join the Feller Fam. We'll put you on a map. You can join our Facebook group. We'll celebrate your birthdays. We're involved in each other's lives. We care about each other. We know what's going on. We pray for each other. We lift each other up. And so a lot of people I've learned are on the internet because they feel isolated or they feel alone or they feel like they don't have anybody that's interested in the same things that they're interested in. And so we're all in this together. And one more thing about our community, to me, it's the most important thing. It's the cornerstone of what we do is that we're faith focused. The Bible is our framework of thinking. We have a biblical worldview. We don't compromise those values, and we hope that people who don't know Jesus will come to know Jesus. That's the community we're building. You're invited to be a part of that. Okay. Hotspot, thank you so much for that super sticker. I appreciate it. You got me double super stickers. Thanks for coming in hot, Hotspot, right off the get-go. I really appreciate you. Thank you for that. You're just so awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Trying to get down to the parts of the stream where it says where you guys are from. It's a lot of chats I got to catch up with here. Kentucky. Hey, Amy. Hope you're doing well. It's good to see you on here every night, Amy. I see you on here. Just so awesome. New Mexico, Ohio, North Carolina, Pantego, Ireland, Kentucky in the house. Kentucky in the house. Kentucky in the house. Indianapolis, Michigan. Georgia, California, Missouri, Connecticut, South Carolina. Great to see you. Jonesboro, Arkansas, Aspen, Colorado, Nashville, Tennessee. That's where I'm from, Joy. I live right in Nashville, Tennessee. Love the daily text. I sent out a daily Bible verse if you guys want to be a part of it. Some people say, why did you block Michelle? Michelle's never been blocked from the chat. You guys, she was even on that night saying that she was blocked, saying, hey, why did Tyler block me? Why did Tyler block me? And people are saying, he didn't block you. He didn't block you. So you can go back and look at the stream that she thinks I blocked her on, and you can read in the chat, Michelle going through it saying, Tyler blocked me, and people responding to her saying, Tyler, everyone can see your text. Tyler did not block you. And if I remembered her last name, I can't remember it off the top of my head. I think it starts with a T. I would share with you what date that was because she emailed me and asked me why I blocked her. And maybe some of you mods, can you remember her doing that? Does anybody in the chat remember her doing that? She was in the chat saying, Tyler blocked me, Tyler blocked me. And everyone was like, no, we can see your text. We can see your text. We can see your chat. We can see your chat. Tellison is what somebody said. Michelle Tellison. She sent me that email on July 16th. So I imagine it's on my July 16th stream. For my knowledge, you can go back and you should be able to go back and look at that. But she definitely was in the stream. Some people are, and most of the time when people get blocked in the chat, it's not me. I'll tell you that much because I'm busy talking. But occasionally I do block people. I'll be honest. I do occasionally block people. Yeah, Miss Kelly says we kept telling her she wasn't blocked. I know. Jim called me today and was like, was telling me about it. United Kingdom, Alabama. Great to see you guys. Thanks, guys. You're just awesome. Really appreciate it. Yeah, we do. Joy, email me. I do have occasional church gatherings at my house and sometimes at other people's houses and sometimes in churches. And so we can put you on in sort of in the loop with some of that stuff if you're interested. So, okay, folks, hope you're doing well. I don't feel that good today. I'll be honest with you. I don't feel that good today. I feel slightly under the weather. So I might not be super laser focused today, but I've been busy and I've been accomplishing things, get stuff done. And so that takes a little bit out of you too, but I'm glad to be on the stream. I'm glad to be on the stream with you guys. Again, we have some very important things to talk about. Before we do that, there is a video about Dylan Rounds that I want to play that the Utah News came out with. It's just a 2-minute clip. It's about the search that took place yesterday in Justin Rounds. In Dylan Rounds' Jim Brenner's property. It's about the search that happened yesterday in Jim Brenner's property. And he actually says on this that they're not only are they doing a search on Brenner's property, and they're doing a story about it today, which that was yesterday. They said today, which they said tomorrow, but they mean today, that there's going to be another news story about what's going on. So I'm looking for that as soon as that news story from today is published, which there's a little bit of lag time from the evening news and when we start our stream because we're on different time zones. But as soon as that video is up, I'll play that video for you as well. Hey, happy caffeinated couple. Thank you so much for your super sticker. You said, thanks for being you. Well, you're so awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. And I wasn't sure, happy caffeinated couple. Are you guys coming to the beach retreat because I'm trying to get a head count. The last day to sign up for our beach retreat is on Tisha's birthday, which is August 27th. All right, there's that. Thank you, Paige Malone. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate you guys. We are having a beach retreat, and thank you, Paige, for that super sticker. We are having a beach retreat, and the beach retreat, it's in Panama City Beach. And in order to go, you have to have gone through all of our growth track classes, which we call beginnings class, on tylerfellow.com/class. There's 4 classes that you have to take. Once you've taken all 4 of those classes, you're invited to be what we call an influencer. And anybody who's our influencer can come to the beach retreat. And the beach retreat is funded. I'm paying for it. Movement Church is paying for the lodging of the beach retreat, but you have to cover your transportation. You have to cover your food while you are there. And so you can sign up for that on tylerfellow.com/retreat. Hey, MJ Gasher, thank you so much for that super sticker. Really appreciate it.
The 19-year-old who was last seen on Memorial Day weekend.
Today, authorities searching the property of the main suspect. For every missing person, there's a family, and for them, the search continues. Here's ABC4's Marcos Ortiz with tonight's Missing in Utah.
Authorities in Nevada executed a search warrant on James Brenner's property. What the probable cause remains unknown, but what's clear is that it's getting a lot of attention.
I knew it was going to happen. I didn't release it because we didn't want, law enforcement bombarded.
But earlier today, Cooley's family was there to watch authorities from Elko County drive towards their target. Dylan Rounds disappeared in late May. Weeks later, James Brenner.
That's something that I didn't catch originally. So Candace Cooley was actually there. See, Ty didn't tell me that whenever he was watching. When he was out there doing their live stream, and whenever I called him, I talked to him twice yesterday. He may have not known that Candace was sitting there watching.
Didn't release it because we didn't want, law enforcement bombarded.
But earlier today, Cooley's family was there to watch authorities from Elko County drive towards their target. Dylan Rounds disappeared in late May. Weeks later, James Brenner was named the suspect in his disappearance. The search today is on Brenner's property near Montello, Nevada.
It's on James Brenner's property. So it was a property that he had that the little shack that he lived in burnt down. And I knew he had the property. Dylan told me the story about his shack.
Okay, that makes more sense. Adele was saying, no, that was Lance and Ty's footage. Okay, that makes more sense, because I'm like, wait a second, what? But didn't he make it sound like she was there?
He was there to watch authorities from Elko.
I knew it was going to happen. I didn't release it because we didn't want, law enforcement bombarded.
But earlier today, Cooley's family was there to watch authorities from Elko County.
It says Cooley's family was there to watch authorities from Elko County. Plus, on the news, when they put, it says Candace Cooley up there in the top left corner, that's giving credit to where the video came from. Am I right? So is that Lance's footage? You guys are sure? Are you guys 100% sure that's Lance's footage? Because if so, then this news story needs to redact that statement.
Drive towards their target. Dylan Rounds disappeared in late May. Weeks later, James Brenner was named the suspect in his disappearance. The search today is on Brenner's property near Montello, Nevada.
It's on James Brenner's property. So it was a property that he had that the little shack that he lived in burnt down. And I knew he had the property. Dylan told me the story about his.
Wow, that's very interesting then, that they gave it to Candace. So I wonder, did Ty and Lance send it to Candace? Is that what happened? Did Ty and Lance send the video to Candace, and Candace sent it to them, and so they gave the credit to Candace, or how did that go down?
Shack burning down.
Brenner remains in the Weber County Jail on a weapons charge and assaulting someone.
The feds, the sheriffs, and the detectives are in Montello, right?
See, this one says Salty up on the top corner, and his full name, so they're doxing him apparently. But see, they're giving credit to who made that video. Was Candace sitting in the car with Lance and Ty?
Right now. They're in Montello right now with their cadaver dogs.
At one time, Brenner worked on Dylan's farm outside of Lucin in Box Elder County. And after Dylan vanished, authorities found Brenner squatting on the 19-year-old's property.
I'm hearing on social media, somebody threw something on social media, cadaver dogs. Have you heard anything like that?
I know Elko was showing up in full force. They were not going to leave any stone unturned. So I'm sure they've got their dog teams out there. They're going to go out there and they're going to wipe that place clean. And then we can either have more questions or have evidence, or we can completely
It says again, Candace Cooley up there on the top.
wipe it off our slate.
Just a short while ago, Candace Cooley confirmed cadaver dogs were used, but there wasn't anything found. She says Elko County's quick response is one reason why she wants someone else besides Box Elder County to investigate the disappearance of her son. That story Wednesday. For Missing in Utah, Marcus Ortiz, ABC4 News.
Okay. Well, good. Well, good. Well, folks, one thing I want to remind you of before we get into these text messages, I want to go over to google.com/slides, and I'm going to show you guys this slide that I made that involved the Dylan Rounds case. And I got one of the Kiely Rodni case going on too. But if you guys scroll down, well, you don't have access to this, but I do. If you guys look at this, look in the bottom left corner, Dr. Joseph Cicecchio. I've been saying this from the get-go. And no one, I don't even remember any other person talking about Joseph Cicecchio as if it's not like an important piece of the puzzle. And to me, it's a major piece of the puzzle. So Joseph Cicecchio owns the land. I think it's about 700 acres or so right there. I'm sure he owns land in other places as well. That's the land that Jim Brenner was squatting on. That's the land where the grain shed was at. That's the land where the grain truck had to be put back into the grain shed at. That's the land where there was I'm so sorry, I got distracted. That's the land where the boots were found. That's the most important piece of land because that's likely the place where there was something nefarious that took place involving Dylan's life. So my first question was, who's the owner of this land? And the owner of the land is Joseph Cicecchio. Everybody's like, oh, Ed Harshberger. And then they're all saying some other guy, and I don't even know who that person is. And everybody, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying Joseph Cicecchio, Joseph Cicecchio, Joseph Cicecchio, Joseph Cicecchio. And come to find out, Joseph Cicecchio is a very important piece of this puzzle. Cicecchio is a dentist. Yeah. Kristen Rose, thank you so much, Kristen. Thank you for your gift over today on PayPal too. I'm sure that was just your tithing and sowing into the ministry, but I'm so grateful for that. Thank you for trusting the Lord with your finances, Kristen. I honor you. Hey, MD 22. I love the number 22 this year because it's 2022, but Isaiah 22:22 is one of my favorite verses. And it says, I'll give you the keys to the house of David, and I'll open doors for you that no man can shut, and I'll shut doors for you that no man can open. Becca says, no, it wasn't Tyler. Ty said he doesn't own it. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about the land because it's just not true. Yeah, Ed leases the land. That's exactly what I've been saying. Jim, Tyler, do you have the link? Yes, I'll send it to you, but I don't want you on quite yet because I'm going to show what I want to do, Jim, if you don't mind, is I want to show the letter and then the text messages, and then I'll have you come up. So, I know I told you to come on at 7:25, so I'm a little behind, but that's because I've been feeling behind. But I'm going to text you the link right now. Take me just a couple minutes to get through these. I'm sorry I'm running late. You're fuming over that Candace News piece. Have you not seen it yet? My text messages are not going through today. I tried to text Kim and Keith earlier today. It didn't go through. I tried to text Patricia today. Didn't go through. I tried to text Jim Terry just now. Not going through. I don't know what the heck is the problem. Tried to text my friend Preston today. Didn't go through. Tried to text the manager of my apartment building because there was a bed in the trash chute that fell on me and cut my leg. Didn't go through. No, my text messages for some reason are not working. So this is a link for Jim. Jim, I want you to let me go through some of these texts first, if you don't mind, then call in. Okay, so Joseph Cicecchio owns the land that Ed rents. Remember, Kurt Wadsworth said in an interview, that Ed Harshberger is the one who put Jim by the grain shed. And so keep that in mind. Okay, first off, here's a picture that Jim sent me. And I believe that this is a picture of Kurt Wadsworth, and I believe this is him going to empty out Dylan's pond. So there you go. 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 Chris, no, I text through my computer a lot of times. So I'm trying to text through my computer, and some of those are the ones that are not going through, although there's some from my phone not going through too. And it's when it's people who don't have iPhones typically, but Kim and Keith have iPhones, so I don't know why theirs wasn't going through. Preston has an iPhone. Don't know why his wasn't going through. So I think I need to trade my phone. I think I need to get a different phone, to be honest. My phone's been I was eating lunch with a friend today. I'm like, I think I need a different phone. So he said, we just had the best dinner. Okay, so I believe that this is Kurt Wadsworth. I believe that is Kurt Wadsworth emptying out Dylan's pond. Oh, Amy, thank you so much for the super sticker. That's our train conductor. Does anybody else want to hop aboard? Vera Moy, Earthworm, find Dylan. Yes, I'm right there with you. Thank you, Earthworm, for being a part of our stream. And we're right there with you. Was that footage your guys's? Let me know. Patricia, you got some of my text messages, but you didn't get all the ones that I sent to you. And I was tired of messing with it. Okay, folks. First thing I'm going to show you. This is the letter from Joseph Ciceccio. It says, to whom it may concern, I, Joseph Ciceccio, give permission to the Rounds family, law enforcement agencies, FBI, search and rescue personnel, and anyone associated with the search for Dylan Rounds to enter and occupy my property near Lucin. Use any of the items on the property, including water and leach lines for sewers. It's also authorized. This includes 400 acres near the shed and the 310 acres next to it. Joseph Ciceccio. So, it's a big one, guys. This is a big letter. And I'll tell, and you need to remember this, because when I start showing you some of those text messages, you'll realize why it is such a big letter. Oh, Deborah, thank you for joining the super sticker train. Thank you so much for hopping aboard on that super sticker. Okay, so we're going to get into the text messages. Jim Terry's going to call in after I'm done with these text messages, and he's going to give his commentary about it. Apparently, he's fuming over that. Apparently, he's fuming over the thing that I just played with Candace Cooley. Text message number 1, and this is from Dylan's Aunt Wells. I blocked out the phone number. You guys can't see it. Here's a list of potential suspects that the family had nailed down that they were sending to Jim Terry. Robert Aviles, Kurt Wadsworth, Don Hately. He's one of the older guys that lives out there and was working on the pivot alone. Here's the other suspect, Jim Brenner, the other older guy that lives next to the shed where the grain truck was parked, demanded everyone leave the property even though it's not his. So FBI shows up, or whoever, police show up, everybody's showing up to search, and Jim Brenner is out there demanding police get off the property, demanding Dylan's family gets off the property, demanding even Dawn gets off the property, demanding every single person to get off of that property, despite the fact that he doesn't own the property and he's squatting on the property. Is that not wild to you guys? It's just insane. Angel says that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Guys, I have about 30 of these text messages that Jim sent me and about 10 or 15 more that he read to me on the phone that I wasn't prepared to talk about quite yet. I'm just telling you guys. So I don't know, when he calls, I'll ask him when and how he wants to release those other ones. I'm going to need a little bit of time to release those other ones because to be honest with you guys, I couldn't even fully wrap my head around it. I'm like, Jim, I got to be really careful with the kind of stuff that we're talking about, just to be honest with you. But so he sent me I really don't know. He gets lost on his phone sometimes. I'll ask him about that too. But he sent me these ones, and I was just absolutely blown away. Hotspot says he wasn't squatting. Ed put him there. I understand that, but they still said he was squatting. And once law enforcement's showing up and searching because it's a criminal investigation and they tell him to get off and he refuses to, that's when it became squatting. So maybe initially he wasn't squatting, but the fact that the police and law enforcement are showing up and telling him that he has to get off the property because they're searching it and they're looking for Dylan Rounds and he's refusing to do so. He's demanding everyone get off the property. That's when it becomes squatting. That is when it becomes squatting. And by the way, these text messages, no one has permission to show these text messages on their streams unless Jim Terry gives you permission. Unless Jim Terry gives you permission. That's it. So don't ask me for permission because I'll just tell you no. But you got to ask Jim Terry for permission. All right, here's number 2. Dylan's boots were found behind the shed a few hundred feet away. And that's the finish of that last text. So if you look at this text, Jim Brenner, the other older guy that lives next to the shed where the grain truck was parked, demanded everyone leave the property even though it's not his. And then it says, Dylan's boots were found behind the shed a few hundred feet away. Too late. Public domain. It's not public domain. This is exclusive content that Jim Terry owns because he created this image by turning it into a screenshot on his phone. It's not public domain. These are images that are creation of Jim Terry through the sophisticated use of taking a screenshot on his phone. Nobody has permission to use it. The owner of and if you use it, your channel will get struck. The owner of the property Jim lives on is listed in this document, giving us permission to search, regardless of Jim's demands. He might know more about Jim. You guys see that? The owner of the property that Jim lives on is listed in the document, and it gives permission to search. You guys understand that? So the owner did not want Jim Brenner living there. Owner did not want Jim Brenner living there. And so he kicked him out. And he was and Jim Brenner was there trying to get everyone off of the land. And so instead of having to get a formal search warrant for the property, Joseph Cicecchio just sends a link out or sends a letter out and says anybody who wants to has total permission to be able to be on this property. Anybody who wants to search, anybody who's a part of the official search, including FBI and law enforcement and the search and rescue teams and the cadaver dogs and the Rounds family, you have permission. No, Cinnamon Bear, that's not how it works. Once it's on my channel, then anybody that uses anything from my channel, I own it, and it is my content that I'm creating, and I can easily give a strike to anybody. I can easily give a strike to anybody who uses my content, any of my original content, easily. So you guys just don't know how it works. There's the letter. So that to me is a very important text message right here from Dylan's aunt. So the first text message was saying, here's a list of our suspects: Robert, Kurt, Don, Jim Brenner demanding everyone to get off, which is very fascinating. And then the next one basically said, because, they want to search that land because Dylan's boots were found right behind it. And the owner of the property Jim lives on is listed in this document, gives permission to search regardless of Jim's demands. He might know more about Jim. Very fascinating, right? So there's a lot of text messages I'm skipping, so you're not going to be able to see all of them, but I'll kind of fill in the blanks. Some of the other text messages that I might share or want to share in a few minutes, I'll share with you depending on what comes out, but I don't know if you'll be interested in it. This is a text now talking about Kurt Wadsworth. They're having a conversation about Kurt Wadsworth. Jim says Kurt Wadsworth has never talked to the police, only to Justin. Then he says Kurt Wadsworth is scared of me. That's what he says. And then the next text message says he's talking to Justin, the father, not telling him anything, but not running either. All right. So it's a little tiny conversation about Kurt Wadsworth. And the text messages that I don't have a copy of, but that Jim read to me out loud, that I was saying I wasn't quite ready to receive quite yet, those involve some pretty significant things involving Kurt Wadsworth and the family's suspicion of them. But this little snippet of the text message isn't really what I want to talk about anyways. It's this last part of this text message. It says this: we may have found evidence of Dylan being alive. Where can we get fingerprints done in the Utah Valley as soon as possible? So there's some certain things that are going on that was leading the family to believe that there definitely was an opportunity for Dylan to be alive. And so I don't know what those things are. That's another conversation that we can ask Terry about whenever he calls in. But I find it to be very interesting. Text message number 4. And I have 6 of these, and I'm gonna have Jim Terry call in. Jim's saying, hey, yeah, him loading all that stuff into the truck. I mean, on Sunday, that's super bizarre. Okay. Then the aunt says, can you tell us what meth labs have been busted in the area, Montello specifically? And this kind of goes back to one of those theories that Laura was saying, that she realized there's probably a lot of meth labs going on in the area, and maybe some of this situation going on involves drugs. And that's something that the family, if you look back to it, those text messages from Candace, that's something that a lot of them were talking about that I found to be very important. And then Jim Terry says, Kurt and I just talked. We're going to talk again in a few hours. Very interesting. Then she says, this place is the Twilight Zone. We are hearing rumors of meth labs and people running it through Montello. There are abandoned cars without license plates and VIN numbers. There are mine shafts where they drop bodies. We are starting to wonder if the cops are involved. Anything is possible at this point. Now, these are conversations that are coming from Dylan's aunt, and these are basically in line with some of those text messages that we had shared from Candace. The other text messages that I'm talking about that Jim has read to me both today and last week whenever we talked, both of those text messages are in a group chat, which includes Candace as well as some other people that are in the family. So Don't reach out to Justin the father. And the reason why, well, I'll have Jim explain the reason why. There's a very specific reason why on that one. So, folks, these are, again, I have about 30 of these text messages. I'm not necessarily trying to release all of them, but again, there's a lot of the information that's going on in this that is very important. I'm going to call Jim, and I'm going to tell. I would rather him just be on the stream, so I'll see if he just wants to get on the stream, but I'll call him. I don't know if the link went through that I tried to text him.
Hello?
So, hey, are you going to hop on the stream or do you just want to talk through the phone?
You're live? Oh my God, have you risen?
Despite the, slander about me on the internet today, apparently.
Yeah, no, I'd rather come in on the StreamYard, but this is fantastic. I would have thought you've risen because your cell phone is your reception is so bad. I mean, yeah, I'll be on in 2 seconds.
All right, bye. If you guys are just not joining, somebody made up a rumor today that I had passed away in a car accident and the internet went crazy. Folks, I'm alive. And then the bad thing was people who were saying they wished I wasn't alive. Oh, Jim Terry's still sending me more text messages. So I'll show you this one he just sent me. It's going to take me a second because I got to blur out the number. Oh my gosh, I just did it the wrong way. Jenna O says, why not release all of them? Because there's 30 of them, and it's just that's too many text messages that are not meaningful for me to go through and to edit. And some of them are like totally pointless or meaningless. Like there's things on there that you don't want to see. And then there's other ones that he hasn't sent to me yet. So, okay, so let me put that one you just sent me up on the screen.
Yeah. Tyler, it is so good to see you. When they told me about the car accident, I says, well, what type of car? And they said it was a 1972 El Camino. I said, oh, that's not
That ain't him. Okay. The officer should ask to see Kurt's phone. He should also FaceTime your son's phone when he gets there, like I said yesterday. See if he hears a ring on the property. Now, this is the same thing you said to Candace. In those text messages with Candace, that's the exact same thing you said.
So what people might not remember is when I first got on this case, before I was even hired, I told the family, and I tell every family this, you're calling the phone, it's going straight to voicemail. Okay, try to FaceTime it. Why? It's going straight to voicemail. Just see if they have another device. Let's just think the kid's a runaway, because at the time we don't know. There was a little bit of resistance from Candace. She told the family that didn't mean anything. Now, don't forget, I'm talking to the aunt, and the aunt is relaying this information to the rounds and to Candace and her husband, not telling them that it's me, the guy that they hung up on, that is giving them this information. So Candace craps all over this. So what if his FaceTime rang 11 times? So now the officers are kind of getting into it with Candace, which, by the way, I am fuming at that interview, because there is so much of that interview that has to do with these text messages, Tyler, that it's unbelievable. It's the same repetitive cycle. I held on this. We released it. First of all, Doug, Lance, and Ty Corbin were that whole deal. Not the FBI, not Candace Cooley, and not the local sheriff's department. That whole thing that they went and searched the other day was because of Doug, No Thanks Investigates, Crime and Justice, Lance, his wife, and Ty Corbin. And she took that whole interview. Now,
that's why you're fuming. Yeah, I stand with the other YouTube channels.
Same thing here. And let me say this before we get anywhere. If anybody takes these text messages, okay, in the last 48 hours.
Well, Kim texted me and said somebody's streaming my stream. And I don't know if that's true. I can't find it, but I'm going to strike it if that's true.
And well, good luck, because what they do is these are people out there that already have channels. They're opening up 3 or 4 other channels. There's a Facebook dedicated to taking my numbers down on Facebook and streaming it on other platforms so that your numbers go down. so that the people that hate you don't have to watch you to give you credit. So if there's another 300 people that hate your guts, your numbers are going to go from 1,500 to 1,800. They drop. The other thing, too, is they're taking this stuff on fake Facebook pages and they're regurgitating it. And so here's what I'm telling you. I've got some good web people.
But
now.
let me say this, too. You care more about numbers than I do. I care about building a community. So I care about like my nucleus growing, and you like a larger audience. So I'd rather the haters be on a different stream.
Well, and that's fine, but the haters are on a different stream, and it depends on what they're using it for. You know what I mean? Why do they care at all unless it's for, nefarious purposes? But if I see these text messages end up anywhere, and my number is very easy to get a hold of, and let me put this disclaimer out there because this has happened every time I come on your show, because they think you're soft and won't do anything, and that I don't know how to do anything with this. Well, I got a lady now on the payroll that does. First of all, if these end up on Monkey Mar, Zav Girl, or Salty, or any of that stuff, Queen Bee, any of them, and they know who they are, if it is even some sort of a reprint of the screen or whatever, I'm going to take everybody that I've got that's now working for me, and I'm going to flash strike them. Then what I'm going to do is we're going to do the same thing to them that they do to us. Now, if you want this stuff, even if you're a creator that I don't like, I don't have a problem with that, but here's the rules. You got to call me. You got to give me credit for it.
Right.
And you got to talk to me about it on your show. If you don't have me come up with these text messages, you're not allowed to play them. Please try me out there. Please try me. But that interview that she did, she hijacked everybody. And by the way, that interview with Salty Pancakes when he was on the news feed, I was on the phone with him when he was doing that. So it's incredible they cut my voice out and put him on. But yes, so here's the thing with the Kurt Watts. So if you wanted these, you call me 813-993-2242. We'll work it out. But if I see you on there, it's not even going to be a consideration. We're just going to strike. But what they're doing is they're setting up second pages like Tyler Feller 2. And then they're streaming this. In case you strike them, you don't hurt their main channel. They've got that much time on their hands.
Well, let me read the rest of these texts. And there's a bunch of pictures, too, that you sent me that I haven't gone through. Kristen Rose says, sorry, Tyler, people are telling me we love you. Thank you so much. And you said, I sent you an email today. I did not get an email from you. So you might want to check. Did you send it to press@tylerfeller.com? Hello, Jim. Thanks for being here. Blue Heart. Kristen, you're so awesome. Thank you for being a part of our stream. And I'm glad that you are here. Remember you discussed this last Friday. Spiritual attacks are getting stronger and more frequent. Ephesians 6:12. I guess it comes with the territory. So great, Christy. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Now, real quick, this text message, the officer should ask to see Kurt's phone. I begged the family, I begged the parents, I begged the aunt and uncle, even further into the investigation, we were all talking, because they had Kurt Wadsworth right in front of them. Everybody was scared of Kurt Wadsworth. Kurt, let me see your cell phone, partner, because it would be interesting for him to say, because I use the analogy, do it like a cheating girlfriend. They says, what do you mean? Hey, Stephanie, let me see your cell phone. Who are you texting in the middle of the night? Nobody. Now you got something. She says, here, look. Because he's known the kid for 2 years. And they says, okay, what if he says no? I said, that'll be pretty interesting if he declines you. Then you know there's something on his phone. The other thing
this next text message that I'm about to share is maybe the most scandalous text message that exists.
Go ahead.
Justin, Dylan's father, called Blower and said he was going to kidnap. Who's the detective? Blower said he was going to kidnap and torture Kurt if the police weren't going to take this seriously. Candace reamed the police for lying and said she's going to blow up the media everywhere. And then we got word Blower was on his way to Montello.
So Blower told the family, my first day where everybody in the family knew who I was, Blower told the family he had already interviewed Kurt Wadsworth. I interviewed Kurt Wadsworth. He says, I've never talked to anybody. And he was smug about it. Nobody ever came and interviewed me. So I called the family, and they couldn't get a hold of Blower all weekend. It's hard to believe, but the cops took 3 days off. There was no crime. It's a missing kid. No big deal. He's a teenager. He's an adult. Wow. Once they got a hold of him, they said, did you interview him? And he said, yeah, we already interviewed Kurt. And they says, our private investigator told us that he just talked to Kurt Wadsworth and you never interviewed him. And Blower said, let me get back to you. Called him back and said, yeah, I never interviewed him. They caught him in a lie. Wow. So Kurt...
Wasn't part of the lie also involving the fact that the police didn't reveal to Candace that Dylan was staying at Kurt's house?
No,
'Cause
Kurt never admitted that the kid was staying there. He never admitted that. He didn't even admit that to me, but I had already known it. And you got to wonder why that is. You cannot get out of the lifestyle. You just can't get out of it on this story. Until you accept it, until you acknowledge it, they're not going to find their child. We are 8 weeks in, and they have zero. They've now gone to Lance, Ty Corbin, and Doug's channels to look for clues in the desert. Think about that. They've come a long way for nothing. And you can also see here, you can also see the demeanor of Candace Kiely. She's in charge. If they don't do this, if I don't do this, if he don't get this, and you even see it in that news article where you've got to do me a solid here, Tyler. We have got to go over that because there are so many important things in there that depict the way this is going and why.
Wait, which one are you wanting me to go over?
The one that you just did, where she was in the news clip that was like 3 minutes long, where she's in there being interviewed.
I'm still hung up on this text message.
Go ahead.
Is this not significant to you?
Tells me the family thought Kurt Wadsworth was more guilty than I did. They thought he was more guilty than I did. I didn't think Kurt Wadsworth was guilty. I just said asked to see his phone, and let me tell you why. The reason I wanted them to see Kurt Wadsworth's phone is because at the time we didn't know if the kid ran away, went missing, or ran away with another man. We're already hearing the gay thing a million times. And so I said,
I think that they were upset. I think Justin and Candace were upset at Kurt because they had no idea the level of involvement that this grown man had in Dylan's life. That's what I think it had to do with, to be honest.
St. Louis Cardinals up 1-0 on the Rockies. Deal here is Tyler, no, you're sugarcoating it. You're putting perfume on a pig. It wasn't.
Is that what that's called? No, I'm trying to look at it from the best light of the family.
The best light is the truth. And the truth here is they were irritated and upset. They knew their son hung around this kid. They thought he was his employee. Now they're getting information that the reason he slept over there because he didn't want to drive back and forth because he was working on his farm. No, he was making pizzas, watching Netflix, and sleeping in the guy's trailer. So it's starting to come out, and they're starting to put it together. The reason Kurt was interesting to me is because of the things I heard. I wanted them to search Kurt's phone, not to find information about killing Dylan Rounds, not to have information about finding Dylan Rounds, to find information on that phone to see if he had any sexually explicit text messages to Dylan 2 years ago. If he said sexually explicit things to Dylan Rounds 2 years ago when he was a minor, they could arrest him like that and seize all his stuff.
Now, why did Justin's sister send you a message that said not to contact Justin? And by the way, Duck for Life, thank you so much. You said, so happy that you are alive. Thank you, Duck for Life. I'm happy to be alive too. Why did she say for you not to contact Justin?
I don't know what the date is, but I'm going to guess probably because they didn't know that I existed. I begged them. I said, I've got too much information here. We got to talk to the parents. There's no way the parents did not know about this. You know what I mean? By the way, Tyler, and I don't know if your listeners know this, when that rumor was out there about you, Kim called me and wanted me to take over the show until we found out really what happened to you.
Is that what happened?
I was booked to come on tonight as a guest host until the rumors were vindicated.
You were booked to come on as a guest host anyways. What do you mean?
No. I mean, without it. Kim says, Jim, will you do this tonight? I can only do it tomorrow. And I said, yeah, sure.
Yeah. My goodness. Okay. So I'm not done talking about these text messages, but you're antsy about this newsletter or this news story. So let's go back and watch that.
New
I'm pissed. I'm mad.
How are you going to tell me when to stop it or whatever? All that.
I'll give you a thumbs up like I do Crime and Justice.
Okay.
Developments in the disappearance of Dylan Rounds, the 19-year-old who was last seen on Memorial Day weekend.
Today, authorities searching the property of the main suspect. For every missing person, there's a family, and for them, the search continues. Here's ABC4's Marcos Ortiz with tonight's Missing in Utah.
Authorities in Nevada executed a search warrant on James Brenner's property. What the probable
Real quick, why is this guy's hair gray and his mustache black? Go ahead.
cause remains unknown, but what's clear is that it's getting a lot of attention.
I knew it was going to happen. I didn't release it because we didn't want, law enforcement bombarded.
But earlier today, Kiely's family was there to watch authorities from Elko County drive towards their target. Dylan Rounds disappeared in late May. Weeks later, James Brenner was named the suspect in his disappearance. The search today is on Brenner's property near Montello, Nevada.
It's on James Brenner's property. So it was a property that he had that the little shack that he lived in burnt down. And I knew he had the property. Dylan told me the story about his shack burning down.
Brenner remains in the Weber County Jail on a weapons.
Hold on. If she knew about this shack, why did it take Lance and Stephanie, Ty Corbin, and No Thanks Investigate to go out there? If she knew about it, why are you eating dinner? Being paid for by other YouTube people? Why aren't you out there searching? Where is your husband? Where are the grandparents? Where are the siblings? Where is the church? Where are all these people that supposedly love this kid? Why is it a couple of deadbeats in the desert searching for these people? This makes absolutely no sense. If she knew about this, then she's guilty of not going out there and doing anything about it. If she didn't know about it, then they're not investigating it, and they need to give credit where credit is due. She's making it seem like, but by the way, it took them, 4.5 weeks, 3.5 weeks to get out there? 3.5 weeks to get out there.
Charged and assaulting someone.
The feds, the sheriffs, and the detectives are in Montello right now. They're in Montello right now with their cadaver dogs.
At one time, Brenner worked on Dylan's farm outside of Lucin in Box Elder County. And after Dylan vanished, authorities found Brenner squatting on the 19-year-old's property.
I'm hearing on social media, somebody threw something on social media, cadaver dogs. Have you heard anything like that?
I know Elko was showing up in full force. They were not going to leave any stone unturned. So I'm sure they've got their dog teams out there. They're going to go out there and they're going to wipe that place clean. And then we can either have more questions or have evidence, or we can completely wipe it off our slate.
Just a short while ago, Candace Kiely confirmed cadaver dogs were used, but there wasn't anything found. She says Elko County's quick response is one reason why she wants someone else besides Box Elder County to investigate the disappearance.
Here we go. This is very, very important. She wants her team, this and that. She's fighting with everybody. This is what the family told me in the beginning. She will fight with everybody out there. She is already crapping all over another law enforcement agency. This is who I want to investigate it.
Wow.
You see where I'm coming from? That's why I'm so irritated, because it's right here. You can see it. The same thing she did to those other police departments is the same thing she did to me. As long as it's the way she wants it, then they'll do it the way. So I've always said this, and I don't care who don't like it. They would rather not find him than find them somebody else's way. They begged people not to go out there. They begged people. They put a press release and said, don't go out there. And then when people do go out there and give them probably the best lead they've had in 3 weeks, they send the FBI, they send the cavalry. Now they say, it doesn't make any sense to me. It tells me that unless Jim Brenner, who I'm hearing is not very healthy, says where that guy is, if that kid is, then they're never going to find that boy. Never.
Just for the record, I don't think that Ty and Lance are deadbeats personally. Jim's opinions are not my opinions. I like Ty and Lance personally. I'm in favor of Ty and Lance. They're welcome to call on the show and be on the show anytime they want.
When I say deadbeats, I don't mean their father's not paying child support. I mean, compared to law enforcement, they're deadbeats. They're novelists. They're guys with they're not. It's the difference between.
You're talking about their detective skill level.
Yeah, I'm not talking about them as human beings. People get too triggered. What I'm saying is you got two people out there that don't have jobs, that are not trained, that have no background, that are not licensed in anything, that are doing it for nothing and were begged not to do it. And now Candace Kiely's going on the news talking like she headed this whole thing up, saying what detective agency she wants out there, when a month ago, she told people not to go out there. If this Marcus Ortiz had any guts, and I've interviewed with him, he would have said, well, Candace, this tip came in off of another YouTube show that you've never gone on, that you've badmouthed, with two people you won't talk to, and you sent the cavalry out there after you told people not to search. Nobody will press her because she's the grieving mom. By the way, look at Candace Kiely's demeanor today and look at the girl in California's parents. And I don't want to hear how people grieve differently. 10 years from now, they might. But when your kid, when your loved one is missing in the first 6 to 8 weeks, there's only one way to respond. And they're not doing that. Now, it's interesting that they were out there. And I'm a little irritated at Ty Corbin because Ty Corbett never said that Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds were out there. Maybe he didn't know. I'm starting to wonder if they were really out there or not. And now I'm also starting to wonder if the reason they took 3.5 weeks to get out there, Tyler Feller, is because they had to wait for them to get time off of work. Maybe they needed to wait for the Coolies and the Roundses to get out there to search because she wouldn't let another agency do it. She is controlling the narrative, and it's why they have nothing. Nothing.
Well, I texted Ty just now and asked him if he knew that Candace was out there, and so we'll get down to the bottom of that, if he knew or not, and then why he didn't disclose it. Or, in my opinion, Ty's an honorable man and always has been to me. So if somebody's asked him not to do something, he doesn't reveal that information. So, for example, he has never revealed what he knows that Justin Rounds revealed to him that they found while they were searching. I think it was his phone, but he's never came out and said that because he said that he wouldn't tell. So maybe Candace and him had a conversation, or Justin and him.
And you know what really bothers me about this? Ty Corbin is not the kind of guy like I am that would say, whoa, Marcus Ortiz, that information came. I'm going to say it for him because he won't. Ty Corbin is not the kind of guy that's going to come out here and say, well, it was because of our channel. It was because of our searches that we went out there. Because if this was me and they didn't find anything, there'd be 5 Facebook pages dedicated to how I led him into the wrong direction. So the bottom line here is he's not the kind of guy that's going to come out and take credit for it. But Candace Cooley should be enough of an adult and should give credit where credit is due to the people that gave them the biggest tip they've had in weeks. And she won't do it because it's No Thanks Investigates and Jim Terry. That's more of an issue than finding the person. She still has not given them credit. She's told them not to go out there and look. I mean, that's a stark contrast to what should be going on here.
Southern Gal Jen, thank you for that super sticker. Justice for Summer says FBI would never tell her or anyone anything.
Yeah, and how does Justice for Summer know that? I've talked to the FBI that are involved in this case three times in the last 8 days. And let me tell you something, they talk. The problem is everybody is a closet attorney, a closet private investigator, a Monday morning quarterback. Yes, the FBI do talk. There is no more investigation out on that property. They didn't find anything. It's in the desert. You could see it from 6 miles away. If they found anything, it would be news. You couldn't hide that out there.
Now, Ty did send me a picture, by the way, of the FBI tent out there. It's kind of a blurry picture because he was quite a bit of ways away, but he did send me a picture of the FBI tent out there. He texted it to me last night. So they had a tent up for some reason, and I don't know if it was one of those tents that they do where they set up all their supplies and maybe a nice chest or cooler with water in it or whatever. I have no idea. Maybe a couple chairs. I have no idea what was under that tent because I can't tell through the picture. But yeah, they definitely had a tent set up. Thank you so much for your super chat, Justice for Summer. I know what you're saying because we've talked about, like, for example, in the Kylan and Crystal case, Sean Paul Schulte was out there doing clue booths, and the Grand County Sheriff's Office and the FBI never had any conversations with Sean Paul. He was begging for information. No one gave him any information at all until Dog the Bounty showed up. Dog the Bounty Hunter showed up, started banging on people's doors.
Right.
And so,
yeah. And we got somebody go ahead. I'm sorry.
This case is different. The local officers, both from Box Elder and from Elko County, stream information into Candace. And this particular FBI agent that's assigned to this, there's several people that are other YouTube creators and other people who have been in the chats have said that FBI agent has shared with them information and talked with them. And so I think he's doing the best to keep an open. I'm sure he's not breaking any confidentiality or intruding on the investigation in a negative way. He just has a different approach because they're trying, like Jim said, they're running out of options. And so he's building relationships with people, hoping that it would lead to something meaningful.
And we got people in the chat room. You Are Loved just said, Candace was forced to take control because law enforcement was not helping her find him from the beginning. Here's what somebody like You Are Loved just does not understand. And it's not a slight, okay? It's trying to explain color to the blind. The reason that law enforcement didn't help is there was no crime until whatever they found on that trail, and the FBI got involved. Let me say this for the millionth time. An adult who disappears is not a crime until there's a crime scene or a motive. So for the first couple of weeks, There was no crime. It wasn't like law enforcement was like, we don't care. And she's this mother who's going to fight to find her kid. They didn't know what the hell was going on. They've got real crime in that town that they're trying to handle. And this kid goes missing and they don't know why, because where's the crime? It's unfortunate that people, no matter how many times I say that, don't get it, Tyler. And it is so frustrating to explain that to people. I don't know why they don't get it.
Well, it's the thing that's frustrating is when it just has to be explained like 3 times a week.
3 times a day, 3 times a chat. There is no crime in a missing persons case unless it's a 9-year-old.
But this did shift from a missing persons case to a criminal investigation.
Once they found something that led them to believe it was a crime, which was probably the cell phone. Now, could they have looked to find a crime? Yeah, but until there is one, call the cops and tell them that your cat's stuck in the tree. See what they do. It's not a crime.
And part of the reason, though, that you say that is because you've worked on a lot of cases where there's missing people, and you're gonna have some of those people on your show tonight. But those are people who you found and they're alive and well. They just wanted an escape or a reset from their life.
Well, here's the other thing. Let's say I found Dylan Rounds living in Dallas, Texas. In some levels of private investigating, and I've never really been, I got faced with this one time. By the way, all you people that say California, Oklahoma, and all those states is a PI, there's something called reciprocity. You need to look reciprocity up before you go off half-cocked. Here's the deal. In some cases, a private investigator, let's say, Tyler, you just disappeared. And all these people on these channels and all these folks are looking for you, and you just don't want to be found. And Kim hires me to find you, and I find you working on boats in a marina in San Diego, and you just wanted to reset your life. Okay?
Yeah.
And I find you. In some aspects, it's illegal for me to rat you out. If the cops found you and you said, hey, leave me alone. I don't want anybody to know where I am, but I'm okay. I hate everybody. Yeah. I don't want to see my mom. I don't want to see my church, and I don't want to see anybody again. By the way, the cops aren't going to say, hey, we found him. He's in San Diego at 23 Jump Street. Go check him out. It doesn't work that way. That's why Candace Howard and some of these other people that have an issue with me don't realize because their loved ones were found and didn't want to come back doesn't mean that they get to know where that person is if they're an adult. Now, if it's a 12-year-old, yeah, it's a lot different. But the police and private investigators can get in trouble. Now, and let me give you an example. If I found a woman who did not want her husband to know where she was anymore because maybe he was abusive or she didn't like him, and he hires me and I find him, he says, where's my wife? I found her. I have proof that she's alive and I've located law enforcement. Great. We've seen Julia Roberts movies like this. Where is she? She's on 3rd Street in Staten Island. And he goes over there and kills her with a claw hammer because he found her. You got a problem. People don't think about that. So you got to look into the fact that an adult does not have to come home and that it's not a crime. And
the police, what was that? Those police videos that you were on, that other stream that are police officers, I heard them say that there was a case that they were working on. It was a pretty big case, that guy. And the family was like freaking out, and they went on social media and everything went trending and was basically really negative about that local police department, and maybe even included him about their kid or something that was missing. All the while, the police knew the kid, it wasn't a kid, it was like maybe 18-year-old, was in a mental institution, but as an adult didn't want people to know, didn't want his family to know about that.
So let's say you check into a mental facility, a hospital in Hartford, Connecticut, and everybody's looking for you. Now, I've tricked those facilities to tell me before. I've had one case where I tricked them into telling me, and it was a kid that ran away, but the bounty hunters were after him and everything. Because of HIPAA laws, you can be in there for a long time and they're not allowed to tell you. You could have a national search and be on all the websites, name us and everything. But if you check yourself into a mental health facility, even the nurses and doctors, now if it's high profile and you're Gabby Petito, there's probably going to be a nurse for $100,000 that rats you out. But for HIPAA, no, they can't call law enforcement and say, hey, Bobby's over here, come check him out, he's not missing, unless the person okays it. They're not allowed to do that anymore. They could say, wait, if you have an STD in a hospital, they can't do that.
Kendra Moa says, fam, don't forget Jim talks from different people's perspectives at times. He would not talk badly about Ty. Stop with the narratives. Love you, Ty.
Ty's my friend. He was on my show last night. Ty and I have talked. The bottom line here is Ty is too good of a guy not to tell Candace Cooley, hey, Candace, if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have had that lead. she's making it seem like she's in the lead because she doesn't think everybody listens to those guys. Because the reason that lead got brought up was because Doug started a channel for those. We all know that in this community. There's certain people out there that don't realize it, and God bless them for doing it. But imagine going and doing all that stuff. And I'm just guy talking on YouTube channels and stuff with some of the stuff and releasing text messages. Lance went into old mine shafts, hundreds and hundreds of feet deep that could collapse at any second. No police, no ambulances, with with his wife or whatever she is at the entrance of it with an AR-15, waiting to see if he finds Dylan Rounds. Okay, and they won't give him credit for anything. At least be honest. That tells you what you're dealing with here. I talked to a person the other day, and I'm not going to say who they are, and it's the last thing I'm going to talk about. We'll go to the texts because I'm fired up. And I says, you wouldn't take the 100,000? They said, no way. I says, why not? They says, can you imagine if we don't take the 100,000, how much money we'll make if we get a movie deal?
Wow.
I've had that conversation with people involved in this right now. Oh, we would decline the 100,000 because we could get a movie deal. And imagine how great we'd be if we didn't take the 100,000. People are snakes.
So thank you, Kendra, for your super chat. Southern Gal Jen says, Tyler goes missing. We're all boots on the ground. I know people are accidentally saying that. I'm missing now. They get my name mixed up with Dylan. People are just speaking negatively about me. You know what? My friend last night said we need to shake off all the word curses. Now, Jim, people keep saying in the chat today that Ty and Lance found something significant today, and they're not talking about it. Should I try to call Ty real fast?
Yeah. I don't know what's significant. I have not heard from Ty Corbin today. I have a show tonight at 10 o'clock. He might come on. It's on Jim Terry TV, as it states right here, Tyler. Tyler, am I any closer to getting my book? When I heard you in that car wreck and might have died, I'm like, I'm never going to get my paper back.
Yeah, you get your book. You'll get it by Thursday. I wrote you a note in it.
Autographed it? You sign your name?
If Lance is watching, if Lance is watching and wants to join, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. This link's just for Lance.
Lance won't come up if I'm on here.
Okay.
So when I go, he'll probably come up, but I think you need to talk to him. And they're not going to say, they're not like me. They're not going to say, hey, we should have got credit for that. But that's dirty.
Okay, they're saying they're not going to talk about it anyways until anything's checked out. That's fine.
There they are. There's Lance.
I would do the same thing, Lance. If I was you, I'd say the exact same thing.
And let me be very clear here. People have no idea. I don't understand the level of danger that Lance and his wife have put themselves in. Forget the massive amounts of criminals out there. I mean, his wife has to stand at the entrance of those with a machine gun. Okay, basically a machine gun, while he goes. Listen, I don't like to walk down behind a mall at night after it closes. Can you imagine going into a mine shaft that's hundreds and hundreds of feet deep, that hasn't been explored, that can cave in at any time? He's down there in shorts and flip-flops looking for a kid he's not related to, in a family that doesn't want people to search. And he's doing it on YouTube. And people have the ability to criticize him and steal his thunder. That is terrible. That is disgusting. And what Lance and his wife have done is borderline miraculous. And I think they should be given at least credit for finding that. I really, really do. And if there's anybody that's going to find it, it's going to be them.
Laura's sent a super chat and is asking if she is allowed to use those text messages.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. Who's Laura?
Perplexed QT.
No, you got to call me Perplexed. Laura, if you call me and we hash some things out, I'll take your call. You got to call me before 10. We'll talk. 813-993-2242, Laura. This will be my olive branch. But if you play them, any aspect of them, you'll get struck during the show. I got somebody watching. So give me a call. We'll figure it out. Maybe I get a candle out of it in a wine glass.
Yeah, I hope you guys work it out. Amy, thank you. Our super sticker train conductor sends a super chat. If anybody wants to hop aboard the super sticker train, I'd love to get 10 people in the next 10 minutes on that super sticker train. Send me your most creative super sticker, the best one that you can find. Lily Castor says, in memory of my son who passed away 6 years ago today and was able to save 5 lives through organ donation. Wow, that's just amazing, Lily. And
I
what
would
my
love to
even
know.
how
I
I
would love
ever
to.
hang on,
Go
even
ahead.
how
I'm
I
sorry.
ever even got started on YouTube. There was a young man in my church, 16-year-old, who passed away. He had diabetes and he had a bad reaction and he passed away. And I spent 3 days at the hospital praying over him because his grandmother asked me to, and he just didn't make it. And they gave his organs, they donated his organs, and she asked me to film what's called the honor walk, where you walk through the hallway and all of the doctors come out of the hallway and they clap and they celebrate as they're wheeling his body to go to the place where they do organ donation. They helicopter him out. And I spent 3 days doing that, and she asked me to film the honor walk and put it on YouTube. And that was the first video that I ever put on YouTube. It got like over 300,000 views. And so that is very touching to me, Lily, and I'm so sorry you had to deal with that, but just what a blessing.
I wonder if some of those people get a chance, Tyler, to meet the people that got the organs. I saw a movie or a documentary about that, and it was eyes and somebody's heart, and the mother got to listen to her son's heart beating in another guy's chest that lived across the country or something like that. It was incredibly emotional. That is a huge thing. You an organ donor, Tyler?
I think I signed up for that. I just switched states. Like I was living in Illinois, and then in January I moved to Nashville, and so I had to go through all that whole process. I can't remember. I think I signed. I don't remember how you sign up for it in Tennessee, but I think I did.
Well, I was until I started watching a lot of zombie movies when I got older, and figured if I could ever come back, I want to be able to have all that stuff, you know.
Earthworm's on the stream, so should I add him?
Yeah, I'll be quiet because I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of what this guy does. He don't like me much, you know, and I'll be good. But this guy, I hopefully he can explain the level of. I don't know how he does it without being scared. I don't know how he walks down those tunnels.
Guys, I want to just address Laura putting 666 on that. You got to understand, she doesn't have a biblical worldview like many of us have. So she was just doing it as a joke. She didn't understand that can be very offensive to a lot of Christians. She was doing it as a joke to try to antagonize a little bit Jim, I think. I don't really know, but she was just asking if she can use those text messages. And I sent her a text and just said, I don't usually put that number on the screen. So I know a lot of people in chat are talking about that. She didn't mean it. She didn't mean it in the way that somebody who really is in that world means it and understands it. So please don't
well,
take
if it was $666, it would be a little easier to swallow, but $6.66, come on.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit more understanding sometimes of where people are coming from on things. So we're trying to get 10 super. I think we've already got 1, 2. We got 2. So then we got Patty number 3. Thank you, Patty, for being number 3. Paige is number 4. In memory of my brother, I love you, Chip. Oh, that's so great, Paige. What a blessing. We got 4 so far. Hey, Earthworm, Lance, thank you so much for joining.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Pretty good. So first thing, I tried to text Ty this, and I didn't get a response back. Did you guys have knowledge of Candace being out there yesterday?
No, we didn't know about that. And I think the news got that wrong. They reported that she was out there and this was her footage, but it was our footage and she wasn't out there. So they got that wrong. And I think they're trying to retract it right now. That's what they're telling me, but I don't really know.
I see. Okay.
Did that upset you, Lance? That upset me because I know what you guys have been through out there. And I know you're a proud guy, but you don't want to steal anybody. But they stole your thunder. And you and your wife are in that sweltering heat with Ty, and you're going into those tunnels. That was dirty, man. They got to give credit where credit is due. You're the only ones doing this.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is now. And they're trying to say they're trying to fix it, but yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, because Glorin Dellin has sent me some corrections about the media. Do you guys want me to run through those real fast?
Sure.
She sent me an email with some media corrections. She says, Candace received the footage of law enforcement heading to search from Lance. Is that true, Lance? You sent it to Candace?
Nope. No, we put it up on YouTube and they used it on their Facebook, which is fine. But
okay, so I'm going to read. I haven't read through this email. I'll read through this email, and because the first sentence is incorrect, Glorin Dellin. So Lance is on the stream and says that that's not what happened. So I definitely don't want to talk about it. So So you guys were out searching today. I went on your live stream just for a few minutes. I've been really busy today, but I saw you guys on the live stream earlier, and you were looking at tire tracks. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was. I can say we were looking at tracks. I don't want to get into what kind of tracks they were because
No, he's talking about the premiere you did, not of what happened to us.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
The
Yeah.
premiere was from a different day that we did today.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
Not today.
Yeah, the tire tracks. Yeah, we went and searched that more. Yeah.
So what area, like if we were looking at a map, like what area were you guys at?
So if you're looking at like the railroad, okay, coming from Lucerne, it would be northeast of there.
So here's Lucerne, and you were northeast.
So yeah, you want to see that? Let's see here.
There's the airport.
Yep, there's Lucerne Airport. Yeah, you're gonna want to go northeast a little bit. There's that railroad you can see.
Yep.
If you zoom in a little bit more, yeah.
I see it. Yep.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah. So
The
if you just
railroad
go
curves.
along there, yep. And that goes right up against the grain shed, and you can see Dylan's property.
Oh, that's where you guys were searching?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I got Dylan's property marked. The railroad goes up against Dylan's property?
Well, you can see it. You can see Dylan's property from the railroad.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there multiple railroad tracks out there, or just one?
There's the new rail grade, which is the one they use currently, and then there's the old rail grade. That's the Golden Spike Trail that they used back in like the 1800s. So.
Okay.
Yep.
But you were at this one that's closer to Dylan's property, right?
Right, the new one. Yeah.
So you guys were out here searching. When you found whatever it was you found, could you see property?
No, there's there's nobody or nothing out there to see you. So I mean, it would be a pretty good place, I think, to travel. Hard surface. Yeah. You're not going to get stuck like you would other places.
About how many miles away were you from?
Probably like 10, 15 miles, I would say, more east and a little bit north. Yeah.
Okay.
From the property. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So what other thoughts or things you can share with us about it?
Well, I mean, the one that, that we saw tracks on yesterday, or what is it, 2 days ago now, that we searched. I mean, we walked out there a while. We didn't see, anything suspect or anything like that. But I mean, we searched that one out, and that one I think we can cross off the list maybe. They could probably get out there with cadaver dogs and stuff and do a little bit better job. But the one that we found today, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I mean, so I think that's something that definitely needs to be checked out, and we're in talks with law enforcement about that. So. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Glorindellen sent another message because she's actually friends with Marcos. She said, I found out it was a misunderstanding between Candace and Marcos. Marcos corrected the source in the print version of the story.
No, thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
It up on YouTube though.
And 100 and something thousand people already saw it with Candace's name.
Oh, yeah, boy, does that make I'm not even and that makes my stomach turn, man. That is so cheap. So it's funny that never works the other way around in this case. And it's all because of where it originated. And that's terrible. Because they got their foot in their mouth. They don't want anybody searching. Now, what are they going to say? See, they keep putting their foot in their mouth, guys. What are they going to do? Come out and put out a press release now that says, hey, guys, please, anybody out there, please search. They can't do that because people say, well, why do you want people to search not now and not before? Because they don't have anything. They don't have nothing.
The way he went about it was kind of disingenuous. He said, oh, hey, can we use your footage? And, I was, trying to be nice. And so, and I signed the agreement. And then I went to the page and looked it up, and they had already uploaded it hours ago and everything like that. But he forgot to mention that to me before I signed the agreement.
You could always strike the news channel.
We're trying to.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the next thing I do because they're.
And think of all the advertising dollars that they made showing that in the evening news.
They've showed it a couple times. They showed it last night, this morning. because we've been getting emails from our fans telling us that they're using our footage without our name on
And
it.
giving them credit. It's okay, but I mean, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it kind of pisses me off because we're the ones out there doing this work. I know a lot of people don't like that we're out here. I don't care. Justin knows I'm out here, and he's okay with it. He said thank you to us. So I'm not going to stop, and we're not going to stop until Justin says something. I don't care what Candace says. When Justin calls me and tells me to not search anymore, that's when I'll stop.
You know what? You make a great point, because there were some people that were involved with me more on a personal level, but also like in a vocational level when I was covering the Gabby Petito case. And they were so upset about me covering the Gabby Petito case. However, Gabby's family, especially specifically her father, was watching the show sometimes and was approving and liked what I was doing. And people were like, imagine if that was your daughter. That's the kind of stuff people were saying to me. You need to quit talking about this. You need to quit doing that. And I'm like, the thing is, the person whose daughter it is likes what I'm doing. And so every other opinion can just kind of fall to the wayside. And that's the way that I think about it. So I honor you guys with that. Hey, give me a second to run through some of these super chats that came through. Sheila says, love you guys. Thank you so much, Sheila. You know what, Sheila? I sent her a message today. I just feel so heartbroken, Jim, about the thing you and I talked about with Sheila. Sheila's been a part of this Feller fam since day one. She's been here from the beginning with us. So
I told her about Lance's channel too. She's glued to it. She watches it during the day. She's an older lady, and I think she's in Texas. I think Texas.
Yeah, she lives in Odessa, Texas.
Odessa.
Yeah, that's sort of like on the west part of Texas, like north. Like it's a little east of El Paso, probably 2.5 hours, and then like maybe a little north of Fort Stockton area. Thank you, Sheila, for your.
You need to Google the Odessa Roughnecks, and you'll see that Jim Terry played in front of about 6,000 people there at a game, Tyler. So you know.
Well, football's big in Texas. Speaking of football, Tammy says, are your games streamed anywhere?
Yeah, the last game that I played at the Bojangles Coliseum a couple of months back was streamed, and it was against the Charlotte Thunder, and I was with the Alabama team. So if it's out there. I think it was on Channel 2. Or something like that. They also streamed it. We got killed.
They told me that you don't drink. You told me you don't drink, but in the
never
stream of you
beer.
playing, hang on. In the stream that I watched you playing football, you went and grabbed a beer from a fan.
Yeah.
So do you drink or not? Because you're drinking the fans' beer.
So what happened was I got knocked into the crowd. I got the clip on. It was an exhibition game in Erie, Pennsylvania. I got knocked into the crowd, and my helmet cut a kid real bad in the front row. And the kid was screaming and crying, and they couldn't calm him down. There wasn't enough security there because it was an exhibition game, and the ambulance had already taken a player away. So I was kind of calming him down at the beginning, and I says, "Here, look, I'll drink your dad's beer." And if you look at it, I never swallow the beer. I act like I'm drinking it. I hold it to the crowd, and that got on ESPN and everything. And it kind of calmed the kid down. You know what I mean? Because he's like, why would a football player drink a beer at a game? And his dad was laughing. And believe it or not, that kid had a gash in his forehead like this. I can't imagine it didn't scar bad. But so that was the only time I've probably had a beer in the last 25 years. I don't drink, don't smoke. I don't even, I eat fast food though.
That was one of your most famous football clips. Thank you, Tammy, for your super chat. Mickey Duff says, love your kindness towards everyone, Tyler. Thank you, Mickey Duff. I really try. So that's 6. Paige is 7. Thank you, Paige, for that. I really appreciate it. Debbie says, Jim, this is the one who gave you your Bulldog nickname. Thank you for giving credit to whom credit is due and honor to whom honor is due. We love you, Ty, Lance, Jim, and Tyler.
Yeah. Yeah. It's shame on those. And you know what, guys? I don't give Justin a free pass either. Justin needs to put on his man pants and tell his ex-wife from 15 years ago, here's how we're doing things. We're going to start running things a little bit different now. They are so terrified of that woman. And I'm glad Lance's wife got a little taste of what that woman's like. It's always going to be that way. It's always going to be that way. They should have thanked them for even getting the lead, but now they can't put their foot in their mouth and say, hey, please go back out there and search. And people are asking in the chat, how do I know they don't have anything? Because they went from crapping all over YouTube channels to using them as avenues to find people. I spoke with the FBI last week for almost 3 total hours over the course of about 3 to 4 interviews, and including the kid. And I can tell you they don't have anything because they ain't found nothing yet. They've never made an arrest based on Dylan Rounds. Never. Right? They've never arrested anybody in
I
connection
think
with
the
Dylan
Brenner
Rounds.
arrest was because of Dylan. Not even partially, totally
They
because of
looked
Dylan.
at him because they were out there, yeah, and they got him on that, but they don't have any sort of they don't have anything to get anybody on. They're going to arrest people for jaywalking and say, hey, we're holding you because of Dylan Rounds. They have nothing that they can arrest anybody for Dylan Rounds. If Jim Brenner didn't have those guns,
Jim, they have friends right on Jim.
But they've never charged him with a crime in relation to Dylan Rounds, correct?
That's the more accurate way to say what you're trying to say.
That's what I mean. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, let me keep going through these super chats. Sorry, guys. I don't want to miss any of them. Todd, thank you for your super sticker. I really appreciate it. Your support means a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Todd says, thank you for what you do, Tyler and Jim. Praying for everyone involved in this case. So sad. I'm right there with you, Todd. It's exactly what I'm doing. In fact, we pray at the end of every single stream. Eve says, Jim Terry, would you show respect to Lance, Ty, and Kimber, plus the help of AZ Traveler? Source, Jim's property. Stop calling them deadbeats in the desert. They deserve.
Guys. Let me explain something to you. And see, this goes back to what I said. People are so triggered. And Lance and all them got mad a while ago when I said on No Thanks' show, imagine if a couple of morons in the desert find this. You know what they're treating them like? Morons. Because what I'm saying is just, and I put myself in that same classification because I've said this a million times. Imagine if some knucklehead PI solves this. It's a way to describe how people of that ilk treat people that they don't respect. And right now we're all in the same boat. They don't respect us, but sure, they had a hell of a lot of FBI guys out there based on what these people found. It's not an insult.
We got mad at you because of something you said to me.
Yeah, it was when you
It
got
wasn't really
nasty
you
with
saying
Kimber,
that. You said something wrong to me. That's why we got upset with you.
Oh, I thought you were upset before that.
Probably a little bit, but it
Okay.
ripped off what you said. That's what triggered Lance, is what you said to me.
Right, but the first thing was when I said knuckleheads in the desert. You guys got mad at that.
Well, yeah, because you had called us morons and you had kind of thrown jabs before, just kind of saying that basically we were just out there doing nothing and kind of discrediting us a little bit. And so I had felt like, I would, kind of, in a jokingly way, throw some jabs back at you, and it went, I think it got a little heated, and that's where, I think it kind of got, people kind of pick it up and run with that. So,
well, it's not what somebody says. It's
but
what they do. And what just got done to you guys, whether you like me or not, was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. I mean, Ty, you've seen these people in these holes down there. I mean, you know how terrifying that is?
Wait, you're talking to Lance. Ty's not on the phone.
I'm sorry. I was meant Tyler Feller. You know, I mean, you've seen the videos of what these people are doing. There is no amount of money you could pay me to go down that shaft. None.
Do you feel like you should apologize for calling them deadbeats earlier or whatever?
No, because I wasn't calling them. It's more the situation. If I wanted to call them deadbeats, I'd say you guys are deadbeats. I would have no problem doing that. That's not what I'm saying. It's tongue in cheek. It's like you can't con a con man. Oh, you said you're a con man. It's tongue in cheek. People are taking what they want and running with it. Listen to what I'm saying. These people got screwed. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party, guys. Now you know what I had a firsthand there. Wait till they give you a cease and desist order.
Lance, are you guys okay with Jim?
Yeah,
okay, can he apologize to me for saying something nasty to me? Will you please just apologize for saying something wrong to me?
I'm sorry for saying something wrong to you the other day on No Thanks Investigates.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm glad that we
tell me I'm the best looking private investigator that's ever worked on this case.
I don't want to lie.
You know what? One of the texts that
that was a good one. I can appreciate that, Tyler.
One of the texts that Jim sent to the Dylan Rounds family said something like that. He's like, "But I'm still the best looking PI in the world," or something like that.
And I just want to clear up something too. We had a YouTube channel long before Doug. I
started
a channel 3 years ago. I was trying to do commentaries and stuff like that. I built it up to, it wasn't much, but I built it up to 65 subscribers, which was really hard for me to do. And for him to try to take credit for that and try to take this channel away from me and to try to spread a bunch of lies about me is why we're not working with him anymore. So I just want to clear that up, clear the air with that, because there's some confusion about that. So
I think too, like, I'll be honest, one thing that I was frustrated about with, I think maybe it was you, Lance, I don't know, it might have been Ty, was like we were in the middle of talking about something on a show. It was like so important and relative to what we were talking about. and there was like this rule that you guys had that I couldn't play it or something whenever Jim called one of you guys. I don't know who it was, and I didn't understand that at all because I my stuff, as long as people are using it in a proper way to find Dylan Rounds or whoever, I'm like, use whatever I have. And I didn't understand why you guys didn't want me to play your stuff, but I always thought you were going to strike me or something. There's a lot of your stuff that I would have been willing to put on the screen and share with people.
Nobody ever called me. Nobody ever called me.
Who did you call, Jim? Do you remember what I'm talking about? It might have been Ty. There was one day, it was a few weeks back. There was
everybody calls Ty and nobody calls me to talk to me about the channel. It's kind of funny. This has been my channel and nobody calls to talk to me. So
well, I have Ty's number because he has,
like I get calls daily, and I've never said this to them publicly, but because I've said about a couple times, I get calls daily about Lance. Daily. Listen, I had a lady call me and ask me if I liked the microphone she sent me. I said, "What the hell are you talking about?" She says, "I sent you and Lance a microphone." I says, "Who the hell's Lance?" She goes, "You know, Lance in the desert." I go, "Why would you think that's me?" Just like that lady that sent Doug the money. That's why I never cross streams like in Ghostbusters. You will. People were saying last night, "Jim, I'm giving you money to give to Michelle." No, you give it to Michelle. I am not taking anything for anybody.
Yeah. Sheila says, "Lance and Kimber, I love your dogs. I watched when you had the mom and babies with you."
Oh, thanks, Sheila. Yeah.
What is the gun for? Why do you have that large assault rifle when your husband's in that hole? What are you worried about out there? I'm all for guns. That's not the issue. But why do you need that kind of firepower? What are you worried about running into out there?
Mountain lions.
Well, mountain lions.
Oh.
Cougars. There's big cats in these mountains. That's
not people.
Yeah, there's packs of stray dogs that are like wolves now because they were like wolves, so they're just out there free roaming. Yeah, there's a lot of dangerous stuff out there that
So it's not from people. You're not worried about a cartel or dirtbags in the desert.
Okay, Tito Ortiz or whatever his name is from the news just now posted a new video giving credit to Earthworm. Should we play it?
Tito Ortiz was the UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, you whack job. What's wrong with you, Tyler?
I was making a joke. I was trying to get Jim Terry to
he was my buddy in college. He wrestled. I can't believe you said Tito Ortiz.
Can I play this, Lance? This is him giving you credit.
Yeah.
Authorities in Nevada executed a search warrant on James Brenner's property. What the probable cause remains unknown, but what's clear is that it's getting a lot of attention.
I knew it was going to happen. I didn't release it because we didn't want.
Great. He put his name in the corner.
Law enforcement bombarded.
Dylan Rounds disappeared in late May. Weeks later, James Brenner was named the suspect in his disappearance. The search today is on Brenner's property near Montello, Nevada.
It's on James Brenner's property. So it was a property that he had that the little shack that he lived in burnt down. And I knew he had the property. Dylan told me the story about his shack burning down.
Brenner remains in the Weber County Jail on a weapons charge and assaulting someone.
The feds, the sheriffs, and the detectives are in Montello right now. They're in Montello right now with their cadaver dogs.
At one time, Brenner worked on Dylan's farm outside of Lucin in Box Elder County. And after Dylan vanished, authorities found Brenner squatting on the 19-year-old's property.
I'm hearing on social media, somebody threw something on social media, cadaver dogs. Have you heard anything like that?
I know Elko was showing up in full force. They were not going to leave any stone unturned. So I'm sure they've got their dog teams out there. They're going to go out there and they're going to wipe that place clean. And then we can either have more questions or have evidence, or we can completely wipe it off our slate.
Just a short while ago, Candace Kiely confirmed cadaver dogs were used, but there wasn't anything found. She says Elko County's quick response is one reason why she wants someone else besides Box Elder County to investigate the disappearance of her son.
Yeah,
That's
your decision, honey.
Wednesday. From Missing in Utah, Marcus Ortiz, ABC4 News.
So all they did was cut out the part that said where Candace was watching from, and then they put Earthworm up in the corner instead of Candace Cooley.
You want to know what this is? Can I give you my take as to why this is going on this way?
But let me say thank you to Glorendellen, who did reach out to him and say that he had it wrong.
By the way, I got that guy's cell phone number, Lance. You want Tito Ortiz's number? I'll give it to you. I'll text it to you. I talked to that guy before. You know what this is? This is Mormons protecting Mormons. That's all this is, because that is a heavily controlled Mormon news station out there. So is East Idaho News. So it's interesting that they've got Salty Pancakes on there and his voice and his stream, but it's like, thanks.
Because he sent it into
and he
them.
was actually in that stream. He was incorrect in saying, "Oh, they're headed to this other guy." I don't even want to say his name. This other guy's property, which he was incorrect on, and and it's right by Lance's property too. So he's trying to throw me in there too. So he's but that's the clip that they use. Him in Utah, Salty, whatever in Utah.
Nowhere near Montello.
If they want to say they're sorry to Lance and his wife, and then I'm going to take off here, Tyler, you could keep on. If they want to say they're sorry, you know what they ought to do over there? And Glorindellen or whoever can get a hold of them, they ought to do a 90-second piece on these guys' channel, on what they're doing out there. Send a couple of cameras out there to follow them around in the desert where there's gosh darn mountain lions and caves and holes and 134-degree weather. And somebody told me there was a T-Rex. I mean, there's a whole lot of goofy stuff out there, man. Why don't they do a little 120-second piece on their channel?
And I'll say, too, the thing that I'm upset about this video, let's just walk through this real fast, Jim, before you get off. Oh, by the way, a mind of my own, 1583. I love when people do random numbers like that. I have to say, I love how you bring people together and appreciate each person at their core. I really try. Thank you, a mind of my own. Here's what I hate about this video. They put MIU update, which means missing in Utah update. What does that mean? It means nobody's going to click on the video. So let's go to the actual video page, ABC4 Utah videos. And this video is still up with 116,000 views.
God.
He said he was going to take that down.
Yeah.
You want his home number? Let me give you his home number. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think, it's really hard to figure out how to change it from public to private. I think that takes hours.
No, it takes 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were being serious. I'm like, no, it really takes 1 second. So I don't know. It's just kind of frustrating. But if I were you guys, I would get the link or whatever and try to, figure something out with it, because it is very frustrating.
Yeah.
Real quick before I take off, did you ever get anything from Perplex QT saying she was going to get in touch with me?
She hasn't read my message that I texted her yet.
Okay, because from what I understand, I was just got a text message myself that says she's got some country western singer on tonight that she wants to put up directly against me at 10 o'clock Eastern.
Somebody told me that she was doing. She has Ryan Upchurch. Ryan Upchurch is big. He's a big country singer.
Yeah,
very famous.
Yeah, well, tonight at 10 o'clock, I have Kenny Chesney on my program, and we're going to go over Dylan Round's case with him. No, I'm kidding. I don't even know who that is. I just saw someone.
Perplex QD says, "OMG, that is not true." So
she doesn't have a country singer on there?
I don't know. She said no. She said it's not true. I hope she does. I hope she has Ryan Upchurch on her channel tonight.
I will release the text.
He was on Zap Girl earlier today.
Who? I will release the text messages to her if she accepts the Lord Jesus Christ as her personal Savior. How about that?
Have you done that, Jim? Have you accepted the Lord as a Savior?
I'm Catholic, Tyler.
Yeah, but so what? Some people say they're Baptist. That don't mean they've accepted Jesus as their Savior. She just now texted me and said she is going to call you, and she is having Upchurch on her show tonight.
Here we go. See, I'm about bridging gaps here, Tyler. You like the drama. I don't. God bless.
Bye. So, Lance, is there anything else that you feel comfortable sharing with me about what you guys found today?
Let's see. Just that it's promising and it needs to be checked out, and we're not going to be releasing any video on it until it's checked out. That's how we feel about it. So is
it okay if I put up the your premiere from today and talk about some of those tracks that you were looking at?
Of course, yeah. And that's something, just call me and we'll talk about it. And that's I'm not like opposed to anybody using my stuff if they're gonna like talk over it or use it like that. That's cool with me. It was another
I think what happened before was Jim was on the show. We were talking about when you guys had went to Brenner's property and you found a four-wheeler and a mattress and different things on that property that had been burned or whatever. And I was on the phone, or I was on the stream with Jim and maybe a couple other people. And I was like, hey, oh man, we had been really building up to like talking about this. And it was just the perfect time just show a quick picture of what you guys had found out there. And Jim's like, oh, I'll call Ty right now and see if they could play. So he calls Ty. Ty says, I don't know. I need to call Lance. He calls you. And then when they call back, they said, no, he's not allowed to play it on your show. So that's why I was like, what? And then I thought like Ty was upset, and I didn't know. I hadn't even talked to you guys. And I'm like, I don't know what I did to them, why they don't want me playing that video, but whatever. I sort of just moved on from it. But I'm glad we don't have a misunderstanding. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, a case of the telephone game, maybe.
Yeah. So and then I talked to Doug about it, and Doug said the reason that you guys wouldn't let me play it is because he was playing it on his show and he didn't want me to play it first or whatever.
No.
No, well, yeah, it had nothing really to do with that. He was supposed to be putting our stuff up like a day after we were uploading it, and then he just started putting it up like hours after we were uploading it. So yeah, that's what that was about. And then maybe I don't know if that was around the time that was happening or something, and that's when Ty had called or something, but like I had never talked to you directly, so maybe I was like, I think I had said something like, well, yeah, I want to talk to Ty, because I didn't know what was going on. Like I was just like, hey, I don't know, somebody wants to use your clip or something. So I was like, well, who is somebody, like, basically. So
just have them call us.
Yeah, call me basically. Yeah, basically call me directly or whatever. But I never got the call. I didn't know. So it's
see, I thought like the way that it was sort of painted to me, like I thought that you and Ty were 50-50 owners on that channel.
Oh.
So that's like my impression. That's why I was like thinking it was okay to contact Ty about it. Like and because he had emailed me and he'd given me his phone number and we had talked a few times and we'd texted a few times. So that's part of the reason too. I'm like, okay, so because I thought you guys were 50-50 owners. So it's actually your channel and Ty's a guest on it. Is that how it works?
Ty's been my search partner from day one, and we just have been going out searching together, and it started out just us doing it on our own, and then it grew into this thing of us putting the videos up on YouTube, and it's become this huge community. So yeah, that's and he's been with me from day one, my partner in it. So
okay. But it's actually like your channel, right?
Yeah, I started the channel a long time ago, and I've just it's been my channel for a while.
So you guys start searching. It's not exactly Ty's cup of tea or whatever to have a YouTube channel. And he's like, man, it'd be great if we could put some of these videos online. And you're like, you know what? I already have a channel. Let's just do it that way. Is that how it went down?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, it was, I had a channel. They wanted to use it on Doug's stuff. So we just uploaded it to my channel because it's a lot easier to upload videos than it is to send them through email. So
yeah.
And then I was, giving him permission to use them a day after and stuff like that. And yeah, so it was, yeah, that's how that was going. But
okay. I think it's important to talk about some of this stuff. Christy, thank you so much. You said justice for victims will happen when people in YouTube love the victims more than they hate. Victims deserve better. # justice for Dylan. I think everybody in this story, Christy, really does love Dylan and love the victims more than they hate. But I don't know if some people love Dylan more than they love their own YouTube drama, or love Dylan more than they love how many views they get on a video, or love Dylan and justice in this situation, more than their own self-gratification. So I think you're onto something there. And I'll just say from this channel, like I've said from the beginning, people don't understand it because they misinterpret me, but we're literally just trying to build a community here. And that's all we've been doing since day one. And we like when there's a lot of people here, but it's not a requirement for us to continue doing what we're doing because we're actually trying to grow our community called the Feller Fam so that we can invite people to be part of our church called Movement Church. That's what we do here. Anyways, I found this premiere. I didn't get to watch all of it. I was watching parts of it earlier. When did you guys film this? Yesterday or a couple days ago?
So yeah, that would have been on the 13th. Yeah, so 2 days ago.
Okay, I'm going to play it without the audio. Maybe you can just walk me through some of what you're seeing. So these are tire tracks. They look kind of fresh though, right? These would have not been out there on May 28th.
So those would have been made in the rain, or soon after the rain, because of how it's pressed into the dirt like that, and the tracks that they made. Just driving out there in the dry, when we were, it doesn't leave as good tracks as this. So this would have, sometime close to when the rain was happening. and they were just an odd set of tracks that stayed on top of each other the entire time. So it looked like one set of tracks, but it was actually somebody who came in and then came out.
I see.
Yeah. So it was
I
just
was just in that area, by the way, because I did a cross country road trip where we were doing church services in people's living rooms, and we stopped in Wells, we stopped in West Wendover, and so I got a really good lay of the land, at least on that stretch of land, all the way to Salt Lake City. So I know that's not the same as Lucin, but I would sure the topography looked pretty similar to this in a lot of those places.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. It's very similar. So.
Has there been a big outpouring of rain since May 28th when Dylan went missing? By the way, Mommy Vaughn, thank you for that super chat. You said it best, Tyler. Yes, indeed. Because there's a local caller from Lucin that calls into the show sometimes named Michael Moore. He seems like such an incredibly nice guy. He's one of 12 people that live in that part of Lucin, just south of basically where those sun tunnels are. And he had heard several other people in Lucin talking about Brenner, and Brenner basically making some statements about wanting to end Dylan's life the next time that it rained and put him in the watershed. And I don't understand it. Break it down for me. Like, when it rains, it doesn't rain very often. The ground's dry, and so it just becomes like a massive river. You can throw vehicles and people in, or how does it work?
No. So it's not going to be like that unless it's a really, really heavy rain sustained for a while. The only thing that you could do basically in the rain is and what he's saying is you would basically go down to the wash and you could throw. This is going to be gruesome, and I'm not trying to be morbid, but you could throw a body basically in the corner of the wash and then crumble the side of the wall really easily. And you'd have feet of dirt on top of the body within seconds, and it wouldn't be very hard.
I see. Okay. And they would go down and they'd end up in sand, or what?
Yeah, they would just be covered in dirt. It's basically that alkali powder dirt that
that's what I meant when I said sand. I just meant that. And so whenever that happens, though, I mean, they're so covered in dirt, it's basically impossible to find, because Michael Moore said you can throw cars in there and the dirt will cover up the cars and you won't even be able to find the cars.
Yeah. It's one of those things that probably needs to be searched really heavily with cadaver dogs, like, a few teams of them for probably a few weeks,
Thank you, Christy, for that super chat. You said you explained it perfectly, Tyler. Thank you. United, not divided. Goldemir, you will know her, Tyler. Oh, thank you, Christy. You're so kind. So how far away are you from the grain shed in this video? Like, how many minutes away or how many miles away?
You could drive there in probably, what, I'm going to say 15, 20 minutes if you're really stepping on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figure you can step on it out there since it takes 3 hours for the police to show up. I imagine people in Montello and Lucin don't get very many speeding tickets.
Yeah, and I would guess if somebody had just committed a murder, they'd probably have some adrenaline going, so they might not care how fast they're going, and they might just be speeding to get somewhere quick. So I think he could have got there, in 10 minutes probably if he was stepping on it. So
I think too, some of what you're saying to me, it's sort of registering this way. These tracks that we're looking at, I'm gonna rewind back a little bit to the beginning when your video started. Those possibly could have been there. Correct me if I'm wrong, dating all the way back to May 28th. Is that true?
Yeah, because we haven't had a lot of rain. Just recently, we got some more rain, and the tracks have disappeared a lot since then. So, it's just one of those things. When you get more rain, it's going to wash it away, but we just haven't had much. So luckily, we've still been able to find some tracks.
Okay. Happy Caffeinated Couple says, thank you for modeling kindness, communication, acceptance, forgiveness, and valuing people. Oh, thank you, Happy Caffeinated Couple. I'm trying to do that. And I something that I haven't been great about, and it's why, Lance, I wanted to tell you about just the way I felt whenever that whole conversation stream went through to you, is because I haven't done a great job of communicating how I feel or even perceive people to be in certain situations. And so I wanted an opportunity to be able to do that today. And hopefully Other people are able to do that as well with a nice, calm demeanor and just talk about things, not in a way that's upset, but trying to understand their perspective. So thank you, happy caffeinated couple. Now, what's your takeaway from this video when you guys were out here? Were you thinking, wow, somebody could have came out here? This could be a valid spot to look.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it just, the behavior of the person driving the truck is just really odd. If it was a search person, they wouldn't have really taken the route they did. It was kind of a weird serpentine, didn't really make any sense type of
It
route.
wasn't like a teenager out there just joyriding.
And that's
Like a
another,
14-year-old got in the dad's truck when he wasn't home and like went out and had a little joy ride or something.
it wasn't somebody testing out their vehicle or even a teenager joyriding like that, doing donuts or anything fun like that. They were taking a really specific path that kind of cut through some weird areas. And the weirdest part was them staying on their tracks all the way in and all the way out. It just, why would somebody do that? A searcher wouldn't do that. It was just the behavior of the person driving the vehicle that kind of set us off. So that little turnaround there, they went around twice, that little turnaround, spun around twice. We don't know if they stopped or not. And then they just went out and followed their tracks exactly out the exact way they came in. So odd behavior.
Now, how far away do you live from where this is at?
I would say probably 40, maybe 50 miles or so.
Yeah. So, I mean, I understand that. So, how far away is this from where you were looking at today?
Let's see. It was right around, I mean, we were looking in this area. So it's near the area where we were looking today.
Okay. So you started looking in this area and something sort of like triggered in you that's like, oh, okay, something that we're looking at is causing me to feel like we really need to come back to this location.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been there twice now, and it was, yeah, it's really weird. We found like a Mylar balloon. And
so you were there on the 13th and then again today when you say twice, is that correct?
Well, the 13th was the second time we were there. We were in the area today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How far did the tracks go? Or is it miles you could trace it back to its origin, or did they eventually disappear?
So those tracks went, I would say, probably 3 miles maybe into the salt flats, and then they just turn around right in that spot where you see it turn around, where it kind of digs up a little bit, and then they just follow their tracks all the way back out.
Huh.
It's really odd.
Well, is it possibly somebody just out there driving around because it was muddy and it was fun and it's not muddy very often?
Well, and that's the thing too. They weren't really skidding out anywhere or really going that fast. They were going slow, but taking a very odd path. That's the best way I could describe it. Like they didn't take a path where they were just trying to get out somewhere quickly. It was kind of a path of, we're going to go here and then go back this way. But it wasn't very fast. They didn't kick up a bunch of dirt really until the very end where they did those circles. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you and Jim Terry are on okay terms? I wouldn't say good terms, but on okay to good terms?
Yeah. I don't seem to have a problem with him too much when we're speaking on streams together or anything like that. I get people telling me, hey, he's talking bad about you guys on whatever channel, and I don't really pay attention to that, but I just get a lot of that from people. So if that's true or not, it is what it is. But I'm that's where I'm at kind of with it. So
okay. Well, thank you so much, Heidi Joy, for that super sticker. I really, you said it's your favorite super sticker. I really like it too. Thank you guys thank you for sending that. I really appreciate it. That's a pool of water. That's kind of unusual out there, isn't it? Or is there little spots where there's a pool of water?
Yeah, it does collect in areas like that, and it will, you'll just be driving and all of a sudden it hits mud and it looks dry and you can get stuck really easily. So trying to show that a little bit, how it just collects too, and you could get stuck really easily driving out there.
Huh. Now let's talk about a time, because winter's coming. And I was born in Arizona and I spent some time there, obviously, in the early years of my life, and then traveled back there quite a bit whenever I was a kid. And it's kind of a different desert. It's sandy, more of a sand desert in a lot of the places that I was from. and it doesn't snow. It snows here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when does the first snow start typically happening? Because Farmer's Almanac saying snow's coming in October and it's going to stay, which means if we're going to find Dylan, we have August and September. We got 2.5 months basically to do it.
Yeah. Farmer's Almanac's pretty good. Yeah. I'd say
It was
October.
spot on the money last year. It's about 50-50.
Yep. Yeah, we have it around October is when it starts getting cold and it starts freezing. Everything starts freezing. It start like tonight.
Is it like Lake Tahoe? Because I love going to Lake Tahoe in the winter. I love doing snowboarding and skiing. Well, I suck at skiing. I love doing snowboarding. And when it snows there, it's just there. It's there all winter. Is it that way in Lucin, or do you know?
It can kind of come and go. You know, it just depends on the year. You know, we can get a light dusting and then it can go away, and then it's just really cold with no snow. So it just kind of depends on, you know, and then some years we have like 5 feet of snow and it just sticks around. So, you know, it kind of depends on the year. But yeah, it's already starting to get cold. The nights are starting to get cold. So the leaves are starting to change a little bit. So we're already starting to feel it now. So.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. So the search there needs to be a resolve on this search because it's already been 2.5 months, and at most we have 2.5 months left.
Yeah. Before it gets really cold and the ground gets frozen and everything like that. Yeah.
Why are you guys so passionate about going out there and searching? It certainly seems like no one else is. I don't see parents out there searching. No offense to them. I don't see other people who were friends of Dylan, you know, from high school out there searching. I don't see people like the Wadsworth family who cried uncontrollably because of Dylan out there searching. Why are you guys out there searching? And it doesn't seem like those other folks are.
All right. I feel like God put it on my heart to go and search for him, and in a lot of the ways that Dylan was out here trying to grow something and trying to make something out here, I feel a lot in common with him about that, trying to do that out here and trying to prove people wrong and show people, hey, you can, you know, make it out here. You can grow food out here. You can, you know, live out here, and it can be nice out here. And so his story really resonated with me, and I meeting his dad, and it just really hurt me seeing his dad in that much pain, and I just really wanted to do whatever I could to help bring him home. So that's where it kind of started from, was that. So
I feel for the dad. I know that he can't, and I don't mean that he's not out there searching in a way. I know he has to farm and take care of business, and that he was, you know, spent a month or more there every single day. You know, I don't mean anything bad about that, but I just mean you guys are out there, boots on the ground, working very, very hard, and I just wish more people were able to do that.
Well, we just feel very, very blessed to have the support that we have that allows us to do it, because if people weren't helping us out doing it, I can tell you right now, we wouldn't have the gas money to do it. We'd just be trying to do it on foot probably still. So I just want to thank everybody that's been able to help us out and help us do it. So yeah, you guys.
Well, I appreciate you, and I'm going to put the link to your guys' channel in the chat if anybody wants to go subscribe to your channel. Thank you so much for calling in. I hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks, Tyler. You too.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Bye. Well, folks, I'm so glad that they were able to call in. I'm putting the link in the chat, and yeah, if you're interested in subscribing to them, that'd be great. Just go click on that video and click the subscribe button. And we're going to switch gears too. Right now, we're going to head into the Kiely Rodni case. I cannot believe I said Kiely Rounds yesterday after I was correcting my mistake of accidentally calling her Kiely once in my video with Jennifer Coffindaffer. One of the things that I want to do whenever we talk about this is I want to do open call-in, and I want to hear your theory of what you think happened, because I have a couple theories floating around, you know, my little bitty brain, and I would love to hear your guys' theories of what you think happened as well. So I put the link in for open call-ins. I'm going to play this video. It's a short video from Good Morning America, and then we're going to go from there. So I'm pinning the link for those of you guys who want to call in and share your thoughts about what's going on in the Kiely Rodni case.
To new clues in the search for missing teen Kiely Rodni, police are now revealing her cell phone's last ping and new details about what the 16-year-old was wearing the night she disappeared. KABC's Veronica Miracle has the latest on all of that. Veronica, good morning.
Good morning, Amy. It has been 11 days since Kiely was last seen. She has now been added to the FBI's missing person database. This morning, new clues in the desperate search for 16-year-old Kiely Rodni as authorities announce a new phase of their investigation.
We are moving into a more limited but continuous search and rescue effort. We are going to have to switch modes and kind of focus on the investigative end and try to figure out where do we go from there.
The Placer County Sheriff's Office saying the night she went missing on August 5th, Kiely was seen in a video wearing this white sweatshirt with pink writing covered in the words "Odd Future." Last week, investigators said the missing teen was likely in possession of a different sweatshirt seen here with eerie lyrics saying, "You don't want to be forgotten, you just want to disappear."
I recognize both sweatshirts. The darker one belongs to her best friend. The lighter one is something that I've seen her wear time and time again. Being out with friends before, have maybe seen that, my friend was cold and then, oh, hey, here, you take this sweatshirt, and knowing that I have another one in the car to go and change.
Kiely was last seen at Prosser Family Campground near Lake Tahoe, the site of a party she attended with hundreds of other teens, where there was reportedly underage drinking taking place. The last known ping from her cell phone was around 12:30 a.m. Rodni was seen on surveillance video hours before the party. As the FBI combs through the more than 1,200 tips, authorities have pursued several leads, including digging up a burial site near the Prosser Family Campground, only to find the remains of a dog.
I imagine there's obviously relief knowing that she wasn't found there, but then also anguish knowing that, you still haven't found Kiely.
Yeah, it's important to hold on to hope. It's okay to feel sad and frustrated. It's okay to feel this anguish.
Rodni's car, a 2013 silver Honda CR-V, also missing. Because of this, authorities are still treating this as a possible abduction case. Kiely's best friend Magdalene determined to find her.
I'm just really scared for her. I just want her to know that I love her and that I'm gonna find her.
And Kiely's mother says the last text message that she received from Kiely was that she would be straight home. That was about 1 hour before Kiely's cell phone last pinged near a lake. Guys.
All right, Veronica, thank you for that.
Can only imagine what the family is going through and the friends.
One more video I want to play with for you guys. This is from News Nation. They were saying that they had breaking or new details emerging in the case. So I want to see what they had to say. Thank you, Amy, so much for your super sticker. I appreciate your support. It just means a whole lot. And I don't know if we got 10 last time. I can't remember. Let's see if we can get 11 super stickers. If you've never sent a super sticker ever, it'd be great if you could send your very first super sticker today. That'd be amazing. We get 11 people. I'll do the train sound again, which is awesome. I'm so grateful to Donna who gave me that, and her husband Larry, who actually Larry's the one who went to the zoo to pick that up for me. And by the way, the link's open if anybody wants to call in. Amy, thank you so much for that. Hannah, thank you so much for that too. There's 2 people. Here's number 3. Jones says, prayers for everyone in the Feller Fam Movement Church. Love you guys. Oh, thank you so much, Joan. You're so amazing. Really appreciate it.
Kiely Rodni hasn't been seen since August 6th. She attended a party at a campground and left around midnight. She texted her mom that she was heading straight home, but never arrived. Alex Capriello is live with the very latest on the search for Kiely. Alex.
Yeah, good morning to you, Ruta Bay. There have been some major developments in the hunt for the missing Northern California teenager.
Major developments.
Kiely Rodni. The police say they've now seen new video of Rodni at that party that she was last known attending. In total, more than 1,200 tips have come in, but so far, no sign of the missing teenager or her 2013 Honda CR-V.
New details in the hunt for missing Northern California teen Kiely Rodni. Local law enforcement released this image of a pink and white sweatshirt Rodni was wearing in a video taken the evening she was last seen at the Prosser Family Campground, the site of a massive senior send-off with as many as 300 underage teens drinking and partying throughout the night. The sheriff's office says her phone was last pinged near the lake. Search and rescue divers have been seen dropping into the water, but have come up short. Search crews on foot located a possible burial site, but that only turned up dog bones. The sheriff's office says nearly 9,000 man-hours have gone into the search for the 16-year-old.
Community members and even folks from outside the community coming in to help look for Kiely and continue doing that search on their own as well is extremely important and has helped us.
After nearly 2 weeks, law enforcement plans to scale back the search effort, but money continues to pour in from heartbroken donors. A new anonymous tip of $25,000 has upped the reward to $75,000. Rodni's mother begged for fellow teens to come forward with any new information about her daughter that night.
It's a hard thing to be courageous, and it's okay to be scared. And we promise you that you won't get in any trouble.
And more than 200 Sheriff's Department personnel are literally working this case right now. That includes 50 detectives who are combing through every single lead that comes in. I might remind you again, more than 1,200 tips have already come into the Sheriff's Department.
50 detectives, and they've had 1,200 tips. Folks, there's 200 people at the party. Each detective takes 4 people at the party and goes and knocks on their door. How hard is that? I want to hear what the mom has to say again, because when you have a mom that's pleading like this, it's just so heartbreaking.
To be courageous, and it's okay to be scared. And we promise you that you won't get in any trouble.
My goodness, she's like, please, I promise. We're making a promise. You're not going to get in trouble for the things that you did. Man, Father, we just bless her. We bless her husband in the mighty name of Jesus, or Kiely's dad. I don't know if it's her husband. We bless Kiely's mom and dad both in the name of Jesus. You be close to them, Father. Amen. Patty, number 4. Thank you guys for your support. My goodness, it just means so much. 4. Cindy's number 5. Great. Thank you so much for your support, Cindy. Robert's number 6. Thank you. Brittany's number 7. Thank you so much for your support. Rebecca's number 8. Thank you, Rebecca. Jessica's number 9. Heaven's number 10. MD number 11. All right, I'm so grateful for this whistle. I'm gonna do it. 2 sounds for beating the super sticker train. There you go. That's the super sticker train sound for today. By the way, the phone lines are open. If anybody wants to call in, I would love to hear your theories of what you think happened to Kiely, or even better, if you have a solution of how you think Kiely could be found, that would be even better from my perspective. I was asking this question earlier, what could have happened? Well, there's either a car accident, and in this case, she would be at the bottom of a lake. Police have used sonar to search the bottom of the lake. Came up with nothing. However, a more thorough search could yield different results. And the reason I'm saying that is because I listened to an expert today talking. Oh, Joan, thank you so much for that super sticker. I really appreciate it. The reason that I'm saying that is because I looked through I listened to today an expert talking about sonar. And the situation that was happening, or the situation that was being talked about was, there's definitely a difference, or a situation that's, I should make that bigger so you guys can see what I was typing. There's definitely a difference between using sonar and doing a quick pass through, or spending a day on it, and then really combing through it. So for example, like Adventures with Purpose being a part of the search, then they're definitely able to take a much deeper, much thorough, much more methodical look at what's possibly happening. And they've yielded good results in the past, where there's been search and rescue teams looking into cases that haven't really got down to the bottom of anything. So I read a report from Adventures with Purpose that says that they were basically in Wisconsin finishing up a case there. And as soon as that was done, then they're taking a beeline straight to Truckee, California to go and search the lakes there. Baby A, thank you so much for your super sticker. You said love watching your streams. That just means so much. Thank you so much for your support. Do you guys love being a part of the Feller fam and a part of these streams? It just encourages me, especially with so much hate out there. Just put it in the comments. Say I love being here. Say if this is your favorite channel. It doesn't have to be. I'm not saying this has to be your favorite channel, but if it is your favorite channel, let me know if this is your favorite channel. I love it when Kim and Keith are hosting. That's one of my favorite days on the channel. And They just, I don't know, they just bring a different perspective and they articulate things differently than I do. And I love being able to participate in the chat. So just so amazing. Now, whenever we talk about another thing that could have happened, I think of abduction. And I just was wondering, like, is human trafficking an issue at Lake Tahoe? That's a big question I have. Is human trafficking an issue in Lake Tahoe? And I actually came across a news source that says human trafficking is a problem in Lake Tahoe. Right here. Not many people spend much time thinking about trafficking. It's daunting. Law enforcement focuses on the human aspect, blah, 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 blah. Assistant United States Attorney Michelle Rodriguez gave a talk on April 29th at Lake Tahoe at the Harrah's Lake Tahoe, which right in that little stretch is like where there's a lot of restaurants and things like that. Federal prosecutor says it's Weld School in human trafficking. Her presentation was titled Exploitation, a Federal Perspective. When describing the role, okay, I'm just basically want to talk about Tahoe. Hey, Paul, how are you?
Not too bad. Yourself?
I'm doing all right. So, what if you were in charge of this search? What would you do to make sure Kiely was found?
Well, first, I live in the county this happened at, Nevada County, and the reason why I even got on here was just to add a few things that no one's talking about.
All right, let's hear it.
We have 7, with her included, 7 missing people right now.
How many of them are young people?
I believe the one that came, the one from Saturday, the guy might be young, but she's the only young one.
Okay.
But everyone else, there's, as of today, 7, 6 today outside of her that are missing that are adults. 2, in every one of the cases, except for one, their cars are missing too, and they can't find them. Hold on one second. We went to the fair here in Nevada County this weekend, and they had her picture as well as the other 2 couple that's been missing since last week.
When you look at this map, and this is from the Tahoe Daily Tribune. Truckee is it's majorly highlighted, and Crystal Bay in particular, and Incline Village, but that's very close to Truckee. Listen, I go to Lake Tahoe quite a bit. I love Lake Tahoe, but all of the circles that you see, these are the major hotbeds for human trafficking. And that's just a major problem to me. Like when the news is reporting it, is this significant of a problem? That's a major problem to me. Don't you think?
Oh, 100%.
There was a sting, and they say basically in Reno, there's up to 1,000 people that are trafficked in Reno alone.
Yeah, I believe it. I have a friend that works on trying to find underage sex trafficking as his profession. He helps with, it's like a bunch of people that left the law enforcement doing it on their own. And I was just talking the other night about this, and he says, he hasn't heard nothing about her case personally yet. But when he started telling me, it was last Thursday, and I was blown away when he started telling me just locally how much sex trafficking teens there are.
Yeah.
It was mind blowing. And he says it's one of the biggest problems that we have that no one's ever talking about.
Yeah. So what do you make of there being 7 missing people from one small town?
It's hard to say because all of them, just like the one that happened this past couple of days, is a Hispanic couple, husband and wife. They left from Reno. They're driving through Nevada County, and they just disappeared off the face of the earth. And so a lot of the Nevada County sheriffs got pulled away from her case right now to come try to help find these other 2 people.
I see.
And right before that, there was 2 other people that were traveling through, and they just disappeared as well. Both of them were males.
And the car's gone too, or
their
they found
car's gone too. That's no, all of them. Their cars are gone, and that's what's strange is how they can just disappear a car. I know we live in a very rural area, anywhere from Nevada City to Truckee is just very mountainous and everything else. But with the amount of flights they have going over, you would figure they would somehow find one of these cars.
Yeah.
And my whole thing, I would suspect that it's to do with sex trafficking because of her age and everything else.
Yeah. So what are some other insights from the area that you wanted to share?
Well, just that about how many other people, no one's talking about the other people that are missing. And just with that other couple, the boyfriend and girlfriend, the one that left from Reno that came through the county. I mean, it's when I went to the fair, me and my family went to the fair, was it Sunday or Saturday, and they had her picture as well as the new couple's pictures all over the place. And what I just thought it was weird is how no one's talking about how there's 6 other cases right now of missing people and their cars. And are they connected? I don't know, but it's very strange to me that many people are missing.
Now, the lake where they were throwing the party at, it's not really that deep, right? They would be able to find her. So like they're really looking at what is it, the Donner Lake?
Donner Lake, yeah.
And that one's about 250 foot deep, right?
That's very deep, as far as I know. Pretty deep.
Is that one clear? Because I know I love Lake Tahoe because it is so crystal clear. Is the Donner Lake clear, or is it a little more murky?
A little bit more murky, just because it gets so windy there.
Okay, but does the water come from the snow that melts?
Yes,
really
it's all freezing cold. Like you're not going to be swimming in that long. I mean, people do, but it's cold.
Okay.
As far as Donner Lake, but
I like doing paddleboarding on Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, my uncle passed away in Lake Tahoe, so in the water itself. So I always have like a phobia of going in the water there because you know how cold it.
Well, what happened?
A few years back, his name was Rick. He was on a sailboat, him and his daughter, and he fell off the side. And they believe because how cold it was, and that it gave him shock, gave him a heart attack, and so his body he didn't come up for like 3 days. Most people, when you drown in Lake Tahoe, they don't get you ever because you sink down and freeze. Unless they say people have passed away in that lake that are sitting on the bottom because they go down there and freeze.
We have a caller who wants to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
Hey, Debbie.
Hey there.
Crystal Bay is 13 miles from Truckee.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't catch Paul. Is it
yes.
Paul? Hi, Paul.
Hi.
I was wondering, you're bringing up some very valid points about all these cars disappearing. Could it be that maybe they have like an 18-wheeler? Are there a lot of 18-wheelers that go in and around this area, or no? Because I know it's a very windy roads. I was just thinking that maybe they could put a car in an 18-wheeler. Can they do that?
That's not a bad thought, Debbie.
Yeah, that I would imagine. See, and Truckee itself has the Highway 80 going through there. That's the major, for trucking goods going into California and across the United States from the ports like Port Oakland. And it's very busy with, trucks going through Highway 80. As far as the other roads, you're not going to see, big rigs on the other roads outside of 80.
Where is 80? Is that running right through Truckee?
Yeah, it's going. 80 is Highway 80 is going east to west. Basically from San Francisco all the way to, New York, I believe, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
But it goes into, how far is that from like California? I think that would be the quickest route, let's say, they could go either way, I guess.
Yeah, if they got on the Highway 80 and see where that lake happened at, you would get off Highway 80. I forget the name of the road is. It's only a few minutes from Highway 80. I mean, no more than 15 or 20 to that lake, to Poser Lake. It's very close to Highway 80. And I think that's where they're checking the cameras at, is where they get off at 80. The sheriffs were saying when they're checking the cameras for there. That's another thing I don't understand is that if you're going east on 80, you go through, it's actually going from east to west. There's the CHP, California Highway Patrol, truck stop where they stop all vehicles and ask if you're bringing any goods into California and all that.
How far is that from Truckee?
Minutes. It's between Truckee and Reno.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just not familiar
with all the cameras, even outside of that. All Highway 80, there's Caltrans cameras, what they call Caltrans or CHP cameras, all up and down it. And I know for sure that they monitor those cameras. And what's weird to me is how they weren't able to see the vehicle, because I know they can go back and look at that stuff. I mean, my brother-in-law.
Exactly.
And that's my family and I've all talked about since this happened, was all the cameras that they have and how they're able to go back and see the license plates and everything else. How did they not get the car leaving out of the area?
Thank you. That's exactly my thought. They had to have seen that car if it was going out of the area, unless maybe, they drove it up into the back of a truck. And that's why I was asking, how often do you see trucks in that area?
Oh, it's super busy. It's one of the, I mean, Highway 80
Okay.
going, because you have all the goods coming to the port of Oakland, San Francisco, and they're going, they come from China, everywhere else, and they're being delivered across the United States. Highway 80 is the biggest route for that.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. So
now, hey, we did get this super chat from Kristen, who said Jeanette and Juan are not married. They're exes. They are still friends. There is a current boyfriend. No vehicle, no phone, and no bank activities still. That is so wild, Kristen. She lives in the area too. Thank you so much for your super chat. I don't understand, Debbie. I never thought about them putting it in the back of an 18-wheeler, because I'm thinking, where on earth are these vehicles possibly going? You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. And especially if Paul is saying there's, what'd you say, 7 or 8? Paul?
There, I believe, as I can pull up my Facebook right now. I'll try to look really quick on the new one. I just took a screenshot of it too, I believe. But there's another case, and another guy's missing. I just got it today. And he's been missing for like 3 days. And they're saying they're trying to get volunteers that are willing to pay $50 for your gas to go help, because everyone's everyone's on this other case looking for her.
Rebecca's saying they could use even a horse trailer with a pickup truck.
Oh, there's tons of horse trailers here, that's for sure.
Wow. I hadn't thought of that. Hi, Rebecca. You would know about those 18-wheelers, girl.
Yeah, she would. Yeah, she definitely would. So we'll do truck. Somebody's asking how far is Truckee to Reno. Truckee to Reno is only 31 miles.
So here's the new case, and you see her case right here. I don't know if the camera can see this. There it is. So here's her case. This is the one from this is from today. This is the other guy that's missing now from the same area. I'm not too
Perry, how old is he? Perry is still missing as of this evening. They did recover his shoe and a pack of cigarettes near his last known location. The dogs are picking up on stuff. Well, that's more than they have on anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just
wow.
the new, he's been for a couple days now. And let me try to pull this other one up. The other one's some people are saying maybe connected here. All right.
So how do you guys feel? I mean, if I was living in a small area where there's that many people missing, I would be
It's very strange. So there's a documentary. It's on YouTube that came out about 2 years ago.
Are you in Truckee proper, or you're in a different city?
I'm in the same county, Nevada County, because Truckee's actually Nevada County, not Placer County. But the reason why, from what I know, the reason why Placer sheriffs are kind of leading the way is because we just don't have enough or that big of a police force. We don't, our population, the whole county's only, I think, 100,000. But it's in Truckee itself. I'm between
county I grew up in, the population was only 3,000.
Yeah, that's our biggest towns, like Truckee's our biggest city, but it's not our capital is Nevada City. I live between Nevada City and Truckee.
I see. Okay.
So let me pull this other case up, the one that people are speculating locally that it's kind of connected.
Teresa says she's praying. Thank you so much, Teresa. And by the way, I know you guys see Debbie's emoji. It's a dog. She's not a dog. She's an actual human, just for the record.
Thank you for clearing that up, Tyler.
If people were asking.
Oh, goodness.
What's also, there's other cases that are not too far away of like a lot of girls that go missing. And I know they found one of them all the way in Oakland, and that was the same thing. They tricked her into meeting up with somebody, and she got taken from our county, and they found her in like Oakland, being sex trafficked, and she was 15 years old. That wasn't that long ago.
Oakland?
They get over to Oakland. That's like one of the big cities they get taken to, what I've been told, for sex trafficking.
Oh my word. How far is Oakland from Truckee? Just curious.
2.5, 3 hours, I believe.
Well, that's plenty of time. If they had all night to get her out.
Here, I cannot find that.
It's just heartbreaking.
Oh, I'm heartbroken about it too. I don't even understand. Ruel is saying that they're also not a dog either. So,
yay, Ruel! And then there's canine in there, you know?
Yeah.
For some reason, I cannot pull that other case up. I'm trying to pull it up on the Nevada County Sheriff's website. It's not letting me.
Well, it sounded like you said earlier about 7 or 8 cases within this year.
That's just
did not
a couple months.
Couple of months where the car has been missing as well as the people.
Yes, the one I believe the one from Wednesday or from I think it was the day after she became missing, or the 2 days after. That couple was a Hispanic couple. It was a husband and wife, or a boyfriend and girlfriend. They're in there. I think the guy looks in his mid-20s. They left out of Reno, drove through Nevada County, like through Truckee to Nevada City, and they just disappeared off the face of the earth. With a Thursday, over all through Nevada County, they were splitting up the search, trying to look for those two couples. They pinged their telephones somewhere in Nevada County. They just disappeared, including their vehicle. And that's what people are kind of speculating they're connected. I don't think they're connected, but whoever knows. I mean, it's just strange in itself. But let me touch on one more thing. I could probably email it to you, but I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure you can on YouTube. About 2 years ago, a documentary came out on Placer County.
I'd like to know about that. That sounds very interesting.
It's a really good documentary. I'm gonna tell you a lot of it. I don't believe necessarily because they're trying to paint a different political picture, which is not true around here. But there is over 10 people that are murdered, and they're believing it's a serial killer. Some speculate it was. I'm not gonna even say. You just have to watch the documentary itself. The people all getting murdered, and we're talking about locally, were all people that were what people consider unbecoming of good people. They're like homeless criminals and stuff like that. But they still never caught anybody for those murders. And this is recent. Like I said, it was like 2 years ago. It was during COVID when this documentary came out. And if you search for Placer County documentary on murders, it's going to come up.
I'm looking.
Todd, thank you so much for your super chat. You said, pray for Dylan. Keep your drama to yourself. Dylan is the topic, no one else. Align your priorities, people. Thank you, Tyler. Find Dylan. Amen. I think Todd might be a little bit behind in the stream, but thank you, Todd. Really appreciate you.
Placer County murders is what I'm looking at. Let's see.
I'm still trying to find that other stuff.
No, it's not coming up.
I'll find it later tonight and I'll email it to you, Tyler.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. And Debbie, we'll help you do your searching on that later. But what are some other insights? Did you have any other insights, Paul, about this case? Or if you were in charge of the search and there's 200 detectives that are assigned to this case and there's 200 kids at the party, for me, a no-brainer. Tell me what you think about my theory. It'd be a no-brainer. There's 50 detectives, 204 law enforcement assigned to it. It's a no-brainer to make a list of everyone they possibly can at the party and go knock on their doors and ask them if they'll talk. Is that not a no-brainer? They don't have to talk. They can refuse to talk, whatever. But go do a little knockety knock.
Every single one of them. Every one of them. What I thought was strange too is that these parents were telling their kids not to say nothing, supposedly, not to talk to the police because they're worried about drugs and everything else, that they're doing at the party. Oh, here's one of that I want to throw in there before I get off. There was that girl that just I think you guys talked about it, but it just happened in Placer County. It's on there. They stopped the search for it. That 16 or 15-year-old that just passed away from overdose. They arrested the guy who gave her the drugs, right? That was Saturday. I think Saturday, Friday. But there's a huge problem with that. It was that fentanyl. And there has been quite a few teens, young adults who have died from overdose of fentanyl lately. Quite a few. And what you do hear people talk with, speculate locally, is that was this what really happened? Is somebody got a shot of that thinking it was cocaine and they overdosed and they're trying to cover it up. But what I found strange is how all these parents are telling their kids not to go talk to police because they're worried about alcohol, drugs they're doing at the party. I just thought that's horrendous and such degenerate people. Like you would tell your kids not to talk to police over that instead of trying to help her find her and solve what's going on.
Oh, I'm right there with you. Now, Debbie, your grandson, Tucker, how old is he?
16.
So this is hitting home a little bit, right? Because that's how
Absolutely.
exciting is. Could you
It's
imagine him being at a wild party like this and a bunch of him and his friends and then nobody sharing any information?
it would just make me nauseous. I cannot imagine people that I know, friends that are his friends, his parents, that I know them, would not be able or would not want to divulge any information. That just blows my brain. I mean, you know, we're taught to do that. And then for them to be so concerned about themselves or their child that they're just shutting it down whenever it could help, regardless of what the information is.
Yeah. Yeah, I have my 12-year-old and my 10-year-old looking at me right now. They know there's no way that they wouldn't hold back. They would tell the truth right away. They would tell everything they know, regardless if they might have done something wrong. Morally, they know they would be right to divulge the information they have.
That's exactly right. You just do it. I just can't imagine not divulging that kind of information whenever it could help someone. Just I can't imagine being so selfish about your child. I guess I don't know. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't allow my kids or grandkids to do anything like that. They have to tell the truth.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just trying to find that missing thing, and I don't know why my Facebook is acting up right now.
Well, I'm going to get off. Hey, Paul, thank you so much for your insight. It really is helpful. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I don't ever, I've been watching Tyler now. That's the only person I watch on YouTube, and I'm taking a break from my work. And I started watching the Dylan Rounds thing, and then this came up. Seeing all, even the sheriff, it gets me so frustrated that publicly no one's talking about all the other missing people right now.
Yeah.
Just the past months in the area, and there's literally now seeing that other one show that's 7, including her, is just beyond me. Why no one's, even if they don't think it's connected, I think they still should mention it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know what, Paul? You are a good man, and you're obviously raising 2 good boys. And God bless you, and God bless your family. And
thank you.
You're welcome. And bye, Tyler.
Bye, Debbie. I'll talk to you later.
Well, I'll let you go, Tyler. I'll email that to you.
Okay.
I'll definitely email it to you.
Thanks for calling in.
Hey, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Bye. Hey, folks, by the way, Jim Terry's live. If you guys want to go watch his show, please go do that. We're going to be talking about Kiely Rodni for a little while. I did make sort of a deal with him that he comes on after the show, and I just totally forgot because I got my time zone mixed up. When he says 10, he's actually talking about 10 o'clock Eastern time zone, and I was talking about 10 o'clock Central time zone. Hey, Patricia.
Hi, Tyler. I'm sorry that I missed Debbie and Paul. I was kind of hoping to, catch them still, but that's okay. How are you doing, Tyler?
I'm all right. How are you doing? I'm a little under the weather today. I've been I don't feel super great today.
Uh-oh. Well, I'm praying for you. We've got a prayer team that's got your back.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I was looking at that map that you have up there, and I was so interested in what Paul was saying about the other missing people and the fact that there's so much trafficking going on that you mentioned. Also, you showed that article, Tyler.
Yeah.
This is something that we don't hear enough about.
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know, I just look at it and I'm really hoping and praying that a lot of these news media outlets, online, on television, whatever, that they're going to get fired up about starting to really showcase what's going on with trafficking, what things are being done by special agents, by government. There are people that
I do wonder, like when we talk about the Dylan Rounds case, not just in this case or in this area, clearly the Department of Homeland Security, and there's some pretty high level operations going on in this area because they were able to assist very quickly. And I thought it was so unusual, Department of Homeland Security help, and it's because they are already stationed in this area because there's such a significant problem with counterintelligence that needs to happen. And some of it is related to some of the crimes that exist around human trafficking. And that doesn't necessarily exist in Lucen or in the Dylan Rounds case. But one of the things that I keep thinking about is like these areas are highlighted on a national basis for a reason. And from my perspective as a pastor and somebody who has a spiritual sort of awareness, it's saying that I feel like God's highlighting some of these areas so that things that are hidden in the crevices and in the darkness can be brought to light. That's what I think. And it's an opportunity for us to pray into those things and hope for resolution and a change. But it's also an opportunity for the world to know that this kind of thing exists in the United States. And it's not a problem that's in the Philippines. It's not a problem that's only in the Philippines. It's not a problem that's only in Thailand or Taiwan. It's a problem that exists right here in Truckee, in Lake Tahoe, in Sparks, in Reno, in Virginia City, in Carson City. These are issues that exist everywhere. And there's also issues that exist, and I'm not sure totally what they are in Lucen and Montello, but for some reason, God's highlighting that area, and that's something we need to think about, pray about, and ask the Holy Spirit to show us so that we can do our part of letting people know.
Well, I was really impressed with Debbie when she mentioned perhaps, there is a big rig and they're, not only taking a person, but they could be also taking their vehicle. And that is something, I've been following. Just so you guys know, okay, I know people, I won't say who they are, but I actually know people that are in Texas that work with law enforcement with regards to human trafficking there. And what I've been told is the network that they are focused on links all across the United States. And they are online. They're able to get on the good side of some of these people. I won't say how, but they actually are finding houses on regular residential streets where they have all of different kids, teens from different parts of the United States that have been captured by these bad guys, and they're doing the human trafficking in a neighborhood house. This is not uncommon. And I think the people, like you said, we're going to focus on the Nevada, California, Utah area. I think God is behind that, and that we need to really pray and seek some kind of understanding from the Lord. Is there something that a puzzle piece that he wants to help us to find? And so I'm with you on that, Tyler.
Yeah. And some people are saying, oh, she's not been abducted. This is not one of those situations. We're not saying that's the only option, folks, but we're just right now, and for purpose of conversation, breaking down if that is a possibility. So we're saying, yeah, her and her car were totally disappeared. Initial searches in the lakes yielded nothing meaningful. Multiple people in their vehicles are missing. In addition to that, there's possibly a case that there was a car accident where she ended up at the bottom of the lake. Police use sonar, but they have sort of a limited capacity in doing that because they don't have the time or the resources to fully be able to go down to that. And then the other thing is that a more thorough search could yield definitely could yield better results. Todd, thank you so much for your super chat. Says, sorry, I was behind. I was at work. Paused. What is Dylan's friend circle like? Do we know? Anyone question? So Dylan has a best friend named JD who sort of wants to remain sort of off the grid as far as conversation with any of this goes. And I'm not sure about any of his other friends. He's been living in isolation in the desert for 3 years. So this is a great question. I don't know if he was doing Snapchat streaks or keeping up with his friends or what was going on with him, but it's an interesting question. Now, we do have a caller, Patricia, I want to add, named Jones. Hey, Jones, how are you? You're muted, by the way.
Hey, how's it going, Tyler?
So what's your thoughts? Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, I live up on Donner Summit, so I'm right up the street from Truckee. And I just want everybody to understand, and I understand that trafficking is a major problem. But one thing you have to understand is that Kiely was not an at-risk youth. And you just brought the map back up, and what you'll notice, you've got Reno, Crystal Bay, Virginia City, gambling.
Hang on, let me clarify something with you real fast. When you mean she's not an at-risk youth, you don't mean that she wasn't at risk of somehow being trafficked. Is that correct?
In general, correct. I think what happened to her is definitely an outside of the box situation. She was not a drug addict. She was not homeless. She was not in a bad neighborhood or a bad area. And people need to keep in mind, Truckee's not even 17,000 people. So some of these maps, a single event is going to look huge compared to like a major metropolitan area. I don't know if you see what I'm saying. Is it like Truckee is not a high crime area. Tahoe is not a high crime area. It's not like there's no crime there. But I understand and that everybody should be concerned about trafficking and whatnot.
Yeah, I would say this, like, I think every kid is at risk of being trafficked because I know some of them I in a season of my life was very, very close with, but am still friends with, that was trafficked out of her house in a wealthy neighborhood in suburban Chicago. And things like that happen to people who are not necessarily at risk. Now, to your point, whenever I was a youth pastor, there was a girl in the youth group who got addicted to drugs, and unfortunately, and she was trafficking herself so that she would have money for drugs when she was 14, 15 years old. So I understand what you're saying. Like maybe there's maybe it's a higher portion of kids that are in that boat that, get addicted to drugs or whatever. But we don't know if she was a drug addict or not. She's 16 years old at a crazy party where there's all kinds of drugs being passed around. Let me get to the super chat too real fast. Miss Jones says Sammy hasn't been totally truthful and they misidentified Kiely Rodni in videos. I don't think she made it to the party at all. Friends had her phone. That's interesting, Miss Jones. You might be right. I did see in the press conference today they had video of her dancing at the party, but you might be right. I'm so confused about all of it, Miss Jones. And I love that you put the number 8 in your super chat. Okay, other Jones, back to you.
I was just going to say, I think, Tyler, you have been, I've seen you make points about not being judgmental about these folks, and I appreciate that. These girls are girls, right? They're 18 years old. This is like the craziest situation that they've ever dealt with in their lives. Exactly. I think a lot of people have been very judgmental. A lot of people who don't have a psychology degree or a background in criminology have been making a lot of assumptions and accusations
or emotional intelligence.
Yeah. Well, I just happened to, my ex-girlfriend is buddies with the mom and knew this girl growing up, and she's a smart girl. Her parents are lovely people, and anybody who's calling them out needs to slow their roll.
Yeah.
And these people are going through a tremendously horrible situation, and they don't need jackasses on the internet calling them out.
It's hard. Yeah. It's hard for me because I was a youth pastor for a long time and I understand how teenagers think and operate. And the thing that I'm maybe most upset about or frustrated with is that the adults around are placing these teenagers in positions of authority or influence whenever they don't need to be. Because they're young. They're doing jobs that the police should be doing, and there's 204 assigned to them. So if there's any teen conversations, the police should have housed a teen conversation and said, you're not going to be in trouble for anything. It can be confidential or whatever. That's what I think.
Yeah. It's a hard road. Everybody up here is really feeling it. Like, you can't go to a business anywhere up here towards the lake. It's plastered. Everybody's looking out for this girl. Everybody's feeling for her. And the longer it gets, it's hard to be hopeful, but we're all trying to stay hopeful.
Yeah.
Jones, what do you think happened? What's your take on what you think happened?
I've been trying not to think about it. Initially, I was hoping like there was a secret boyfriend or something like that, and she took off. And it was when I talked to my ex, and she was like, this girl's really smart. She has a tremendous relationship with her mom. She's like, she didn't run away. She didn't crash her car. She's like, something happened. Somebody took her. How it went down, I don't know. I hate to speculate, but in my mind, like I said, it's hard to be hopeful right this minute with the amount of time that's gone by. Yeah, I feel like a nefarious person got really lucky, is my feeling. I don't think she crashed her car. I know the area. There's just no place. She doesn't have, her car is four-wheel drive, but it's not a truck. You can only get so far in that vehicle. I do not think she definitely didn't go off a cliff. I really don't think she's in a body of water. I feel like somebody did take her. That's my feeling.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel too. And it's like there's a big part of me that thinks she's still alive, and a big part of me that says what we're doing on this YouTube channel is important. And so we're going to continue to light the fire on it. And we're not going to try to find who did it by looking at all of the teenagers. Instead, we're going to try to look at all of the facts that we know, lay out all the different possibilities, and ultimately pray for results.
That's the best you can do right now.
Yeah,
for sure. Because it's been a hard road. She's taken away harder. I mean, she knew the kid, and I've been checking in with her on the regular. But staying positive, that's the best thing you can do right now, because we're all powerless at this point. We'll see. We're all hoping for the best. And I appreciate you bringing me on, taking a minute here. I think it's good for me mentally to talk about this a little bit, because I've just been really frustrated, honestly, with how a lot of this is rolled out.
Well, thank you so much for calling in.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Jones.
This super chat from Donna says, since I think she must be behind too, since she said Lance Tire searchers, does that mean he can search Dylan's property? That's what I was wondering too, Donna. You're exactly right. I was wondering that too. I think he meant anybody who was a part of the official search, which she's talking about the letter from Joseph Ciceccio, for those of you who are part of the part where we're talking about Dylan Rounds. Okay, Patricia, you're right on the money with all you're talking about with human trafficking in this situation. I don't want to talk too much about human trafficking in general because it's a long conversation, but we just know it's a major problem, and it's even more specifically a problem in this area. And guys, you got to understand, Lake Tahoe is a major tourist destination, and it's not just a summer destination, and it's not just a winter destination. It's a year-round destination, which doesn't exist a lot of times, and so it really is a unique place. And there's a lot of international travelers that go there. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. Have you ever been there, Patricia?
I used to actually have a timeshare condominium decades ago, and it was near Heavenly Valley, the ski resort. And
so you have been there?
Oh, many, many times. And I just absolutely love that area. I was heartbroken when they had that wildfires go through, and it was just so sad to see it. It's so beautiful there. And you're right, you can go
They
there
get about
different times of
15
year.
million visitors every year.
I was just going to say that
The
it's always
population might be small, but and I've been there a lot in the summer, and I've been there in the winter. The traffic in the winter is significantly more. I mean, there's a lot of people there in the summer, but in the winter, I mean, it's like crazy. So there's not as many people there now as compared to the winter. But I was just there 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I envy you for that, Tyler. It's just one of those favorite places in the world for me. And to see now that they're spotlighted because we have these missing people, I just really feel for Jones and Paul, who live in that area, that they live there obviously because they absolutely love it. They have their families there, and to now have this spotlight in such a heartbreaking negative way, I just can't imagine. And so I'm thankful that they both called in, and anybody else maybe from that area, it's sure appreciated. We feel your hearts for this case and for the other cases.
Well, you too, Patricia, thank you so much for calling in.
Well, thank you. And then I guess I'll see everybody Wednesday with Kim.
We'll see
So
you
have
tomorrow
a
with
good
Kim.
night, everyone. So glad to see all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, folks, before we end, I want to let you know about a couple of things that we have going on. Number one, we are having a beach retreat. This is for people who've gone through all the growth tracks and are part of Movement Church, but you can go to www.tylerfell.com/retreat to find out about that. You have until the 27th to confirm. I don't know if you're coming until you fill that form out. So please fill that form out. That way I know who's coming, because I have to make all of the decisions about exactly which places to, to make sure that I rent for us. And then the other thing is we are having a September weight loss challenge for anybody who's interested in that. It's going to cost $10 to be part of the challenge. All of that money, all of that $10 goes into a big fund. And that fund basically, supports the winners and runner up and all of the different prizes along the way. And another thing that is interesting about that is I'm actually doing a weight loss program through the month of September. And if you're interested in learning that weight loss program, it comes with a free licensed health coach. She's actually training me to be a health coach too. And so the two of us, if you're interested in doing that, can help health coach you along the way in that program. You don't have to do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it at all. But if you're interested in that, sign up for it. If you're like, hey, I don't need to lose weight, then fast. Take some time during that month and fast with us. And if you are doing the weight loss challenge and you are a part of Movement Church, approach it with a spiritual discipline. Do it as an opportunity to draw yourself closer to God, because it will be challenging. You don't have to be part of Movement Church to be part of the weight loss challenge. It's going to be a lot of fun. And so you can go to teleflow.com/challenge to be part of that. We also have brand new, just released chocolate covered cherry coffee. Alongside, we have chocolate covered cherry coffee, and we have vanilla bean coffee. And this is my favorite coffee back when I was doing taste tests. You guys might remember that. And I chose to get chocolate truffle coffee instead of chocolate covered cherry coffee. And the reason why is because I thought more people would like chocolate truffle coffee, but I learned it wasn't the best choice. And this coffee, it might sound weird to you. It doesn't super taste like chocolate covered cherries, but it has a really delicious taste. And so if you're interested in that, you can go to www.movement-coffee.com. One more thing that I meant to say, but I totally forgot, is on the weight loss challenge, that $10 fee. If you don't have $10 to sign up for the competition, but like you really want to do it and you're going to commit the month of September to be a part of it with us, I'll give you the $10. Like it's not like really even about the money. It just helps you stay motivated, especially when people are winning prize money and things like that along the way. And so that's just a thought that I have for you guys. I want to let you guys know I did sort of have an agreement with Jim that I would end my stream at 10 o'clock. When we talked about it, I thought it was 10 o'clock Central Time Zone, and it was actually 9 o'clock Central Time Zone, 10 o'clock Eastern Time Zone. So I did send him a super chat and apologized for that. And I don't even know if he put it on the screen or whatever. I don't know how all that works, but I don't really care. I just want him to know I didn't mean to do that. So anyways, I'm going to pray over you guys, and please don't get off. You've been on here for 3 hours with me. Please give me a few minutes to pray over you guys and pray for me, guys. I haven't been feeling very good today. So just pray for me, to be honest. I could use a little pep in my step, a little prayer warriors coming out to pray for me. And that would just be so amazing if you guys did that. And let me just pray for you guys real fast. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, I thank you for every single person that you brought on the stream today. I thank you for your grace, your compassion, your hope, your love, your desire to see us step into everything you created us for. And Jesus, I just pray that if there's anybody on the stream today and I just sense this in my spirit, that feel like they're sort of like hanging on by a thread, that they feel like, I even feel like some of you on the stream, you feel like you may want to end your life. I just want to declare in the name of Jesus, life over you. I declare wholeness over you. I declare the joy of the Lord to become your strength. And I just hear even the Father saying and speaking over you that you are important and that you are valuable, that you are important and you are valuable. And he's reminding me of the story of David, whenever David cheated on his wife and he went into a year of just mourning because he cheated with somebody else's wife named Bathsheba, is what I meant to say. And he ended up killing that person. Her name's with Bathsheba. He ended up killing her husband named Uriah. It's reminding the Lord, reminding me of that story. And he acted like everything was okay until he got confronted with it. And then he just spent a year in mourning. But I'm reminded that he makes beautiful things out of the ashes, that he takes the ashes of our lives and make beautiful things. And if you submit to him even your ashes, the things that you think are not worthy, I know that he'll do something incredible with it. And so, Father, I just bless people who feel like their life has become ashes, who feel like they're holding on by a thread, who feel like they may even want to end their own life. We just right now cancel that assignment of the enemy over them, and we speak life into them in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Wow. Todd, thank you so much. You said keep doing what you're doing, Tyler. You are appreciated. Praying for all the missing people, praying for your channel. You are so awesome. Thank you, Todd. You're so awesome too. Thank you for your support tonight and your super chats, along with everyone else. Thank you guys for your support. Whenever I think about the season of life that I'm in right now, I absolutely had no idea that God would do what he's doing on this channel. I did get a prophetic word about it in May of last year, and I had no bearings for it. I had no idea what it meant or how it would come to pass. But here we are, and it's been over a year, and that prophetic word that somebody gave me has came to pass in multiple ways. And I'm just so grateful for you guys. I really mean it. Like every time I take a second to stop to think about it, I'm just filled with so much joy and so much gratitude. And it's that joy that we've built in this community. It's that gratitude that we built in this community has really been my strength. And this is a very difficult season for the past year. It's about this time last year that I realized, because I had COVID, my uncle had passed away. I preached his funeral. This day was when we did the obituary a year ago for Tisha's dad, who's my uncle, that I started realizing my body is not the same and something is seriously wrong with me. And it's been a year now, and it's been a very challenging year. It could have been a season that felt insurmountable, but because of so many of you, and especially those of you who've been here since the beginning, it just means so much. Thank you so much for being a part of this community and helping build us up. So I honor you with joy, gratitude. I honor everyone. I bless everyone, not just the people who send super chats. And thank you for building a positive place for people to be who they are. And with that, I will talk to you guys later.